Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the 219th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host, Steve Wellings. Joining me this evening, just three on the call at the moment, a holy trinity of boxing analysts. We have Andy Patterson, Adam Smitho-Smith, and the guru himself, Tommy Allen, is on the call. We were hoping for a few more bods to join us. Maybe they will at some point during the evening, but we shall carry on regardless, guys. Let's get straight into the action, shall we? I think over at the Manchester Arena. Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing Promotions, Jorge Linares outpointing Anthony Crolla. A masterclass for Mr. Linares, which was epitomised by the scores 118, 109 across the board. Philip Verbaker, Alejandro Roshin, and David Sutherland all coming to the same conclusion. Mr. Crolla had a bit of a rough night, as it happens. Seventh round, he was knocked down. He was cut on the left eyebrow. And he was about to be pulled out. This was more to do with Joe Gallagher, I think, at the beginning of the 12th round. I think he wanted to steal a bit of the limelight for himself, and he made a sort of faux pulling out motion as if he was going to withdraw Crolla. He didn't, which I think was the right result. Crolla went down on the cards instead. Jorge Linares, anyone who's been listening to this podcast for a while will know that I'm a huge Linares fan. I saw him from quite early in his career, and I think he's just a beautiful boxer to watch. I believe Linares actually has pound-for-pound skills and talent. It's the intangible things like getting cut and damaged face and all this type of stuff that's held him back during his career. This guy is the goods, talent-wise. Smitho, let's get you on the scene straight away. WBA lightweight title was on the line. Linares, he looked good, didn't he? Crolla, he tried his hardest. He tried to come forward, but he was getting picked off. The jab was working. The slashing left hook come uppercut was working. The right hand was working. Even when the commentator, Smitho, tried to say Linares was getting tired, he was just doing a professional thing, wasn't he? And taking breaks and trying to conserve his energy.
Yeah, well, firstly, and as we all said previously, it was a pretty pointless rematch, to be fair. Linares was a clear winner last time. And to be honest, the last time, it wasn't even argued that it was a Crolla fight or a Crolla win. So it was pretty pointless from that point of view. But yeah, Linares was excellent. He was superb. Got in a flow. His movement was great. I thought he looked faster this time round. He looked more comfortable and relaxed. I think one of the commentators called it right, to be fair, in that last time Linares was maybe going for the knockout a little bit more, whereas last night he just seemed relaxed from the get-go, and he did put on a masterclass, to be fair. Crolla just, he tried his heart out, to be honest, but he didn't have any answers at all. He's not got the length, the power, the speed. He just couldn't match or better Linares in any department. And as that proved that, as the fight went on, I scored exactly the same as the judges. I gave Crolla a close first round, and then I think Crolla won the round after the knockdown, and that was it. Two rounds to Crolla, and then obviously had the knockdown as well. The only downside I can see from a Linares standpoint is that he should have got him out of there. He did allude to much in the build-up as well. Linares saying, he wanted to, and he thought that he had to knock Crolla out, and with the Wild West judging that we sometimes get over here, I thought he meant that. But he didn't really, put his foot down. He scored the knockdown in the 7th and then went on to lose the next round for a start. And then in the 10, particularly 11 and 12, Crolla was there for the taking, to the extent where Gallagher had that well-publicised conversation with himself and the fighter. So to me, Linares should have got him out of there, and I think that would have gone on a little bit to really cement these, the talk of Linares being pound for pound, top 10, 5, whatever. That's not what I'm saying, but that's what some of the commentators have said. I think if he was that good, he should have been finishing the job. On Joe Gallagher, I have watched it back today, and I still don't know what to make of it. The one thing I can say is that the referee, whoever it may be, last night, Howard Foster, should not be involved in that conversation. The referee should be told of the conclusion of that conversation. He should not be involved in the decision-making process. And last night, I get a little bit of a feeling that he was. He could obviously see there was a little bit of an argument going on between fighter and trainer. And I think, Howard Foster has stepped in, and that's not his job, to be honest. That is not his job to do that. So I don't know what you guys thought of that.
I thought, actually, Tommy, the presence of Howard Foster was quite an interesting one. Linares was obviously so confident he was going to win the fight. He wasn't arguing the toss. They got three sort of neutral judges. I would have expected a neutral referee as well. As it happens, Howard Foster did a perfect job. He didn't really have too much to do. There wasn't any controversy here regarding the fight itself. Just putting that to one side, though, Tommy, he's a beautiful boxer to watch, isn't he? Do you think that this rematch was warranted at all?
Nah, of course it was. It was really only down to money, wasn't it? We saw the first fight that that Linares was actually a level above. I'm a big Crolla fan. I was actually glad they got the rematch, made a few quid with it, but it wasn't warranted. Last night, I was hoping that Anthony could have made it a wee bit more competitive than the first fight, but as we saw, it actually went the other way, and he was just totally outclassed last night. You can't fault his heart. He came forward all night. There was no quitting him, but just a different level of fighter. It's good to see what you touched on earlier on with Linares back in the day. He's had his ups and downs, but I agree with you. I've always said for years and years that he's a talented fighter. It's good to see him reaping the rewards now. His hard work, and he's getting a lot of credit for fans. I just hope the Mikey Garcia fight can get made now. Even though I like Mikey in the fight, it could be a great fight.
Tommy, just as we're about to come on air there, one of our listeners, Emily Rogerson, regular listener and occasional contributor to the Facebook page, was asking this question for you, Tommy. She says, if Jorge Linares beats Mikey Garcia in the future, would he then be a contender for pound number one?
No, for pound, I thought you were going to say maybe Hall of Fame. Nah, I wouldn't put him quite in that bracket yet. His resume is just lacking that wee bit, and he's obviously got the few losses. Skill wise, though, it depends how you look at pound for pound. Sometimes it's subjective, isn't it? A lot of people rate it with resume, some rate it with talent. You know, it's hard to see, but skill wise, he's probably as good as any fighter in the world. But as you say yourself, it's the intangibles, isn't it? So for me, he wouldn't be pound for pound king, but he would be in the top 10 if he beat Mikey, definitely.
Andy, as much as I want to get away from this pound for pound chat, I'm going to continue along this theme because Dean Glover had asked us a similar sort of question. He said, do you think, considering Eddie Hearn apparently has now crowned Jorge Linares, Andy, as a pound for pound king? I think, you know what Hearn's like. I didn't actually hear him say this, but I'm assuming he probably was trying to, soften the blow of Crolla's defeat, wasn't he, by saying Linares was pound for pound. But do you think, Andy, that Linares is maybe even top 15, top 20 for pound? Do you even care?
Top 15, I'd probably say that's a fair shout, mate. I agree with what Tommy said. I think if he beats Garcia, I mean, that's the only fight I want to see at that weight division now. Everybody knows Linares is at this moment the clear number one, so Garcia is the fight that everyone's wanting to see. If he beats Garcia, I would probably say you need to give him some props. He'd be chapping the door at number 9, number 10, basically. But I didn't really put a lot of stock in them, mate. Pound for pound rankings can be changed every other couple of months and stuff. Folk are no fighting often, so how do you really rank them pound for pound? Rigo's still ranked by the Ring magazine. How the fuck is that possible? So I don't really care, honestly, mate. But if he did beat Garcia, definitely he'd be chapping the door, most definite.
And just regarding the fight itself, Andy, did you pretty much see this a similar fight to the way we all saw it? I mean, I know Sky Sports were thinking that Crolla was coming on towards the end of the fight, but I think they were guilty, Andy, of this whole thing where if he's doing a little bit better than the round before, like he's not getting knocked down or beaten up, then he automatically wins the round type of syndrome.
As Tommy said, the way he kept coming forward, and that he was getting the props for being brave. And, I mean, fair enough. I mean, that uppercut that he took for the knockdown, it really did rattle him, and you did think he was really on the verge of being stopped. But as that round kind of progressed, he did really start to put his foot in the fight. But you could see he was trying to get himself back into it. So you got to give him. I think I tweeted out actually. You got to give him every prop for his bollocks and that. But there was no change for the first fight. Linares just far too classy. I mean, the jab to the body, man, was that entire fight was basically on point. I think it was one point. It was double jab, left hook and stuff. It was just hand speed, just different class. I remember Manny Stewart talking about this guy during the Marco fight. I know he got stopped and cuts and stuff, but even then you could see he's just his balance and his hand movement and just his array of punches. He's just absolutely on a different level. I wouldn't say he's elite level. He's definitely world class. There's no question about it. Crolla, I didn't think he even worked the body as much last night. This much vaunted Joe Gallagher left hook and stuff, but I pretty much had it. I think I've not got my card to hand, but I think I maybe had it like 118 to 109 possibly. I don't think I even gave Crolla maybe 2 rounds if that. I had noticed my scorecard before the fight for the first one. I had it 117, 111. As I said at the time of the podcast, I had no desire to see a rematch. And I was actually kind of bored last night, actually, watching it for about the 5th or 6th round. I was kind of, oh, for fuck's sake, just, I really just, that kind of, I had no will or urge to actually see the rematch. But you just sit as a fan to try and force your way through it. But after 6 rounds of that, I was kind of bored. But
we have a special guest on the line, my friend Joe O'Neill. He sat next to me for many a fight over the years, not at Linares Crolla level, I might add, for the majority of them. I want to talk to Joe a little bit later on about Conlan, Frampton, bit of Jason Quigley. But while he's here, quick sound check, Joe. Anything you want to add on Linares Crolla? Oh.
He's still on mute, mate.
Joe's just muting himself. Let's see if... You there, Joe?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, sir. Linares Crolla, any thoughts?
He's remuted himself.
The curse of the mute button.
There it is. Joe.
Yeah, just pretty much the same as yourselves. It was fairly a pointless rematch. And Linares, obviously, like I say, if they offered him a third fight, he'd come over again. That it was easy money for him. I did have to laugh, though, actually, at Joe Gallagher in between the 11th and 12th, asking pretty much rather than telling Crolla that he wanted to pull him out. Whereas only about 2 hours beforehand, Morrison, he just let him go out again and again and again. Inconsistency there from Joe.
I think we've lost Joe. We have a problem with Joe's tonight. Joe Gallagher. Joe O'Neill. Yep. Joe's going to try and work on that. We'll move on in the meantime. Hater Dave Loback's jumped on the call, which is always a welcome relief. Hater, tell me about this Linares fight. Was Crolla hard done to, do you think?
Well, the problem was Linares was just that little bit better and just barely edged him out. It was an even fight up until the knockdown.
What the fuck is that, man? Why are you playing that?
What accent's that, dude? Fuck's sake.
Well, that's obviously Bellew. It was.
That's Bellew of the week, worthy.
This fight was much more dominant than the first fight, and he clearly showed the distance between the two. Credit to Crolla, he made no excuses at all during the post fight. I don't think that'll be matched by the Sky commentators, or Joe Gallagher or Eddie Hearn, but Crolla's a good guy, and Linares is very good in the ring. I said, like, in the early couple rounds when he was just schooling him, and Crolla was not really throwing back anything. It looked like Linares was playing a video game and set the difficulty on easy mode and turned his own speed stats up to 99 or whatever in Fight Night Champion, and he was just, he was just making it easy for those first, 6 rounds, and then in the 7th he dropped him, and then he got a little careless a bit and put himself at risk because I think he shot a little bit of his bolt, not all of it, obviously, because he regained control, but he tried to get the finish, and he a little bit, and gave Crolla an opportunity to come back in the 8th. It was still it became sort of a war then for about 2 rounds, which was really entertaining for a brief while, but then by the 10th, Linares had reasserted control, and he was just boxing his head off.
Okay, Dave, thanks very much for that. Right, Smido, let's get another question on the go. This was sent in from you to me on behalf of the Mictorious on Twitter. Eddie Hearn has said he's overpaid Anthony Crolla, Smido, in his last few fights. Now, how does Crolla, moving forward, I suppose, get the motivation back to go and fight on undercards for less than 10% he was getting for all these big title nights? Is the motivation going to be there, Smido, for Crolla?
Well, it's a good question, to be fair. My thoughts directly after the fight were probably not. We know the Crolla story. He has been through a lot in and out the ring. And we all know that he is a nice lad, and that narrative is not a fake one pushed by Sky. So I think there would possibly be opportunities for him on the analyst side. But the guys last night, like Hearn and that, were admitting that they can still get him back in for a world title, but just not an elite level. I mean, it's ridiculous now how we're we've got to the stage whereby well, we've lost the WBC and the WBA, but what we'll do now is we'll have a look at the IBF and the WBO because they're a bit worse. I mean, that's just background to the championship world title mess. The Flanagan fight is possibly still there. I don't know. Obviously, it would have to the look of the deal or potential deal would have changed as of last night for that. There's plenty of options at lightweight domestically. Luke Campbell would be a great fight for both, really. One at one end of his career and one at the other, if you like, or either side of a world title. Let's put it that way. There's people like Coyle and some of the younger lightweights as well. Would he be sacrificed to the Wolves like Hoya Davis? Probably not. So, and then there was what also concerns me is the talk of move up in weight. I mean, this is a man with only 13 knockouts on his record. He's not the biggest, as was shown last night, and he's not got the power. I mean, if they're trying to angle some sort of light welterweight, I heard Ricky Burns' name mentioned last night. That makes me feel uncomfortable, to be fair. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. It's just going to be what Crolla. It's going to be what Crolla decides. Has he got the attitude and mentality to keep going at a lower level for lesser money? He has earned decent nick. He possibly might have fell out with Joe Gallagher as of last night, so a moving trainer could maybe revitalise him. I honestly don't know. My initial reaction was that he might pack it in.
No, he said he's going to keep on fighting. He said he's going to take a break and he's going to come back. But hey, see that question, Steve? It wasn't Eddie Hearn complaining that he's overpaying Crolla, was it? Because the fucker was actually saying that he actually wanted to pay Crolla. Yeah. That was one of the reasons why the Flanagan fight never happened.
No, I think the question was along the lines of, Eddie has said before that he has deliberately overpaid the likes of Crolla. So where does that leave him now? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of options there. If he wants it, he can go on fighting. He won't be topping the bill at Manchester for a while. And really, given what's happened to Quigg and Crolla now, that are both on the slide, where does that leave them? I know Manchester is the go-to venue outside of London, regardless of where the fighters are from, i.e. AJ and stuff like that. But yeah, it just puts a different angle on the old Manchester outlook, to be honest.
Smido, I thought it was interesting you mentioned Luke Campbell there. Your namesake, Adam Smith, dropped him into the conversation in a roundabout way when he was talking about Linares and Garcia possibly fighting. He's the absolute master of product placement, isn't he? Adam Smith, the ultimate salesman. He knows for a fact Luke Campbell's not in that type of class, but it's similar to the way he was dropping Joshua's name in when Ali died, in between the Mayweathers and the Sugar Ray Robinsons. He just pokes it in there for the casual or for the boxing fan who maybe isn't completely well versed on these things.
Yeah, no, they're well practiced, aren't they?
Tranny shagging looking bastard.
I do like him on the mic. I've always said that, to be fair, but he is a salesman. Yeah.
Tommy, continuing along the Flanagan versus Crolla theme, it doesn't look like it's going to come off. Craig Mastro sent in a question to us. He said, is Crolla versus Flanagan destined to be one of those classic fights that never happened? A bit like Mayweather versus Agogo or Pacquiao versus Theophane?
I hope not, because it's quite a big fight for Manchester, but the way the landscape is just now, you can't really see Frank and Eddie sitting down together and, agreeing to put a fight on the relative close terms, money terms together, can you? There's got to be, Frank's always going to want him on BT, Eddie's always going to want it on Sky, so that's a problem right there. It's probably not going to happen. If anything, I'd like to see them target the IBF champion Easter. They could probably get him over here as well.
Did Warren not offer him, was it 500,000, or was that what he's wanting to put up Flanagan's purse?
I believe he did, mate. But once again, Eddie's not going to let him go. Remember with Cleverly and Frotch back in the day that Warren actually offered £1 million up front for Carol Frotch, and same again. Eddie just wouldn't allow it. He was happy for him to fight for lesser purses as long as he was on Sky.
Said it before.
Well, Tommy,
these two guys apparently went to school with each other, right? And they fight in the same city, and they kind of get them in the same ring.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's shocking, eh? Sad. You're going to talk about the emails there, Steve, weren't you?
About the what? No, what I was going to say was you said Frank was going to offer to play Flanagan's purse, and I thought, well, him paying his own fighters, that's a good step in the right direction anyway, regardless.
Crolla's purse was going to pay Andy, wasn't it? Is it Crolla, isn't it?
I'm something along the lines, mate. I think it was 500. I remember the figure 500,000 apparently getting mooted, and I think it might have been to pay Flanagan share it. But then I heard some people saying that like he was wanting co-promotional with the show and all that sort of shit. You know how Eddie's not going to fucking give up that type of shit unless there's like serious dosh on the table, eh?
Well, that's it, man. There's two big egos here with Warren and Herm, obviously, as well. But as you see, it's two kids who the same city. They went to the same school. One's Man United, one's Man City. What more do you want to build a big fight? And there's a world title on the line as well.
And it could have been unification at one point. It could have been a true unification at one point.
Yep.
Instead of that, he fucking pies him off to go and fight for a fucking. Remember, Eddie was trying to big up the first fight as a WBC world title fight. It was actually just a diamond title.
Yeah,
absolute wanker.
Mm-hmm. I still hope it happen. I don't think it will. That fight's not going to happen, is it?
I like it, Tommy, whenever Frank gets little digs in. I can't believe I'm saying this because back in the day, Frank was like the Eddie and everyone used to hate him, but now it's quite funny. It was like whenever Skeet fought Eggington on Sky and the headliner and he had the big Box Nation logo on each side of his shorts. And then last night, apparently, Tommy, Frank was driving around outside, wasn't he, with a bit like a truck with a big billboard on. Was it for Smith against Williams?
I saw a picture with the big Box Nation signing a van on Twitter. I was just right outside the venue. Eh? That's unbelievable pro in that. That's fucking world class, man. Eh?
I guess at least he's got the money to pay for an electrical fucking board this time instead of some that gadget handing out leaflets, you know.
Andy, you asked a rhetorical question just a few minutes ago, so let's hit you with this one because Bren Jason has raised the same sort of point that you were saying. Do you think more fighters will now start to leave Joe Gallagher's stable as he's been found out yet again at world level?
Well, I was going to ask another question actually. What results did he have as a trainer to win 2015 Trainer of the Year by Ring Magazine and the British Boxing? Right? I know Crolla had the fight with Perez, the draw, and they won the rematch, right? I mean, just going on that Morrison fight, for example. I mean, how he let that kid just go in there and get his absolute cunt kicked in. It was, you know, and we've been saying it for long enough. He has got too much say in his fighter's career that he doesn't let him have the tougher fights early doors. Then he gets put in a fight like that and gets fucking exposed. Who was the other one? Well, Scott Quigg he's left him. Who was the other one that's it's been kind of shit? Remember John Murray against Brandon Rios? I couldn't believe they ever fucking pulled him out way earlier than that. I mean, that guy's. I don't think he's lost his eye, but I think he's lost his vision in one of his eyes anyway, John Murray now. He's had like numerous operations and that, all because that guy didn't have the fucking bottle to pull him out. It was the same there last night. If he really wanted to pull Crolla out of that fight, he could have fucking done it right like that because he is a man in the corner. He is the one who's got the final say in regard to his fighter. Crolla had no fucking say. Right? If he decides that you're taking too much punishment or you're not going to win the fight and you're just taking just too many hits and stuff like that, there's no point in you continuing. I'm stopping the fight. If he wants to do it, he would fucking do it. It was all about Joe Gallagher last night. It was all about kind of like, you know, for a while it was always like he had this 45-0 streak without his fighters losing and stuff. Now it's like he doesn't want his fighters to get fucking knocked out, so he tries to kind of see them out to the end. So, it's just he's fucking dog shit, man. There's absolutely no improvement with some of these fighters. Two up straight.
You know what else we seen again? You know what else we seen again last night? One of these fighters coming out in a big fight and no throwing a punch, barely throwing a punch in the first 4 or 5 rounds. So come out, apply a lot of pressure, then he throw punches, hoping that a fighter will fade late. It's not working. It's the same game plan all the time. I've been saying it for a while, and people were actually giving me a bit of stick. I've seen this maybe a year or two ago. People were giving me a bit of stick saying, you just hate Joe Gallagher, but the proof's in the pudding now. It's happening. It happens all the time. Quigg's left him now. I think there's got to be 1 or 2 more will leave him as well. It's obviously not working.
See the state of John Murray after that Rios fight. I mean, you would think the kid would have been in a fucking car accident the way his face was all smashed up. His eyes were badly swollen and that type of thing. I don't want to sound too dramatic here, but it looked like a bit like Billy Collins, the guy who go,
It did. I'm right after the fight. I've got a funny story about that, obviously. But obviously they fought, right? And they came back to the hotel. Brandon Rios, actually, he got helped out the car and that. He could barely walk out.
He couldn't make weight. He was fucking dead.
He making weight and that, didn't he? So the next thing, they carry Brandon in. And the next thing, fucking John bounces down the stairs with 2 eyes out to there, right at the pub for a pint. It was unbelievable, eh? But honestly, I've never really seen a fighter with a face like that. That was a good comparison with Billy Collins. His eyes were beef fucked that night, man.
Yeah, I think Andy.
Question, Steve?
Yeah. What I agree with you actually. I think the thing is with.
Oh no!
It's what I was going to say was it's more style over substance, isn't it, Andy, with Joe Gallagher? Like you said, it was 45-0. The story was there. All the fighters were in the gym. It was a nice story. A few guys were winning. But if you look at it, you really dig down deep, the substance wasn't there, was it? You know, they weren't winning all world titles and multiple titles, were they?
It's no, mate. I mean, I'm trying to think of one legit world title they've actually won in that gym. I mean, if you look at Liam Smith's record, I mean, if you look at it, just you see the zeros on the opponents. I remember Brian King talking about this today. Actually, if you look at the zeros in their record, the casual would think, oh, they're being good fighters and that. Paul Smith continues to fail every part of life. Callum Smith is being protected. Fucking, I don't know what it's like a state secret. Crolla, as we know, he's really a super featherweight, kind of coming up in weight. Talk of him moving up to light welterweight's an absolute disgrace. And if Gallagher allows that, actually, I mean, the guy, he's not got the size, he's not got the strength, he's not got the power to even last up at light welterweight. He get eaten alive, and you can just see Gallagher allowing him to go in there and get his absolute fucking heat kicked in again. Who else you got in that gym? Oh, if you go to the Marcus Morrison situation, I don't know if you want to kind of touch upon that, but that just looked like a guy. It was just like a fish out of water last night. And as I say, there was really at one point you could just see that the guy was outclassed. Jack, the guy who fought wasn't any great shakes and stuff. But at the end of the day, why let a guy go in there at that experience level and get his absolute confidence smashed in? Save him for a fucking another day. It's not about you ended. It's about your fighter. It's about his well-being. Get him fucking out of that fight and get him into the gym and get trained on. But it's obviously things that are getting worked on.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Andy. I don't criticise them for the fact they made the Marcus Morrison fight in the first place. That's fine. Step them up by all means. And if they can't take the pressure and they can't handle it, then get them the hell out of there. I'm not criticising them in the first place. Guys have to be stepped up. That's not what I'm saying. But if you get in your head kicked in, you've got to move on and fight for another day. Right, Russ is on the call. Let's see if he's mastered this mute button. Russ, go ahead. Say something.
Go on, Russ, lad. Press the mute button. The mute button. Please press me. I'm here.
Russ needs to lay off that Ching man before he comes on the call, eh?
Any joy, Russ? It must be there. He's on his phone, it must be.
Was it Russ is meant to be bringing on Dave Allen?
I think so, yeah.
Well, he's not fucking bringing him on in his bed anyway, put it that way.
Right, while Russ wrestles with the mute button, let's get to Dave Lowe. Back in, Dave, we're drawing this main event talk to a close. Talk to me about Linares and then Crolla. Tell me where both guys are going to go next, in your opinion. Where would you like to see them go?
Based on Miss Matchroom's finest hits, I wouldn't be that surprised if they made the third fight with Crolla and Derry Matthews, just to kind of get that little trilogy sealed away.
Matthews is retired now, is he not?
Maybe he would come back if Hearn offered him the right money or life-changing money. That's my dog. I think Linares is going to go for Garcia, maybe an interim fight, but Garcia eventually. And I think he's going to get his face splattered in that fight.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go on to the undercard. The fans have demanded it. Joe, hopefully you're sounding okay. Sorry to bring you in on this. My apologies. Jack Arnfield against Brian Rose. Lead us off into this one, Joe.
Oh, Jesus, I don't know where to start. Can you hear me, lads?
Yes, perfect.
I was going to say it's one of the worst lead-in fights in recent memory. It was just, I think, what Tony Bellew, who probably won't be asked back for punditry, he was that critical of it. He was saying it was just two sparring partners, and neither have big power, and just, Jesus, talk about sucking the atmosphere out. I was at the Frampton Quig fight. It reminded me actually of the McDonald fight. Can't remember the name of the guy he fought, but it was right before, and it just sucked any sort of excitement out. Like, I'm surprised that the atmosphere got so good. Only a couple of minutes later. Like, in fairness, like as much of a mismatch as the Crolla Linares fight was, like, you could hear it coming through the TV. It sounded great in there, but Jesus, what a bad fight.
I read in Boxing Monthly they've been friends or sparring partners, trained together for 16 years. It fucking showed, apparently. I didn't even watch that pish, like.
I flitted in and out myself, but, like, it's one of those fake beef fights that just no one really cares about. Like, just because just because two lads push each other away and doesn't mean it's a viable, good chief support. Like the was it Crolla against Perez where they had Quig Martinez, or like a proper good chief support fight, like a proper good Saturday night card, and you're getting this shot now this time.
And Joe, just a word on Martin J. Ward. He defeated Maxi Hughes. We reckon he's going to be fighting Anthony Kakachi next. How would you see that one going?
He certainly gets hit a lot, and like Maxi Hughes doesn't have big power, and he's quite a small super featherweight. And if, like, I know Kakachi's knockout percentage isn't that big, but if he like Ward chipped a fair few shots there, and like he has a tendency to switch off as well. You saw it against in the Clark fight as well. He lets fights get away from, like, he can't seem to like nail down a win. So I think I'm pretty much the world and its wife would have Kakachi as a favourite going into that. Like, I don't think much people are sold on Ward as technically skilled as he is.
No, I tend to agree with you, Joe. Stay on the line. We shall bring you in again shortly. As soon as I finish this card, actually, we'll get you in on the Conlan, a bit of Frampton talk and a bit of Quigley talk as well. We've lost somebody. Who is it? Oh, it's Russ. Big Russ. The circus continues. Right, Smido, are we blaming Eddie for this Arnfield against Rose fight? Because on paper, you could say that it was a decent sort of all-Blackpool affair in Manchester. Two guys on the periphery. Arnfield is supposedly, his career's on the rise slightly. Rose is on the downfall. Are we blaming Eddie for this?
Speedy so that we were fighting the night last week.
Well,
you fucking did.
I said I was looking forward to it because I had a bet on Arnfield.
No, I'm sure you said it would be fighting the night. Like.
Shut up, man. Shut up. The fight was shit.
Smedo says it's a Blackpool Hearns Hagler, didn't he, Andy?
It was absolutely shit.
He did, mate. He did.
And we have got to blame Eddie because the undercard.
White on white violence.
Lads, come on, I'm being serious. The undercard was poor. The undercard again was poor. So for Anthony Crolla, I can't remember them all, but one I think for Perez too, the chief support was Tyrone Nurse against that Walsh kid. Like the undercards in Manchester have been poor, and anything above remotely average undercard is now on pay-per-view, and that's just the world we live in, unfortunately. It was a poor fight. Arnfield didn't throw enough. Brian Rose probably was in front after 7 or 8 rounds, and then slowed down, and Arnfield kind of took over the fight. Arnfield was the naturally bigger, but yeah, neither of them have got power. Brian Rose's face fell to pieces, as I predicted last week. It was a bit too close for comfort at the end of the fight for someone who'd had a bet on Arnfield like me. But it was crap, to be honest. Marcus Morrison, he's been found out. I mean, it's some story. Jason Wellborn, to be fair, he's had some losses at various different weights and various different locations, and he's lost as the underdog. He's lost as when he's been the betting favourite before, and Wellborn, really fancied that last night, and I did quite enjoy it. From the get go, from when they squared up at the centre of the ring, you could tell that they was both up for it. Fair play to Morrison for giving it a go, but he's come up short. And to be fair, there used to be a time when a prospect got found out on an Eddie Hearn show. We would say that it was just luck that happened rather than good matchmaking or close matchmaking. To be fair, we've had quite a few now like that. We've had Cardo almost be upset a couple of times by hook or by crook. We had that Ben Hall the other week by Carson Jones. We had Cunningham beating a go-go. We have had some decent, at kind of, I don't know, area or English level, even though none of them titles are on the line in them examples. At that kind of level, we have had some decent matchmaking, to be fair. So I was okay with that fight. Katie Taylor, I'm just not interested. I just can't get interested in it. I really can't. 8 rounders and coming off a world title. I mean, apparently the opponent fought for a world title. I mean, it's just no good, to be honest. There's no narrative for any opponents at all. Like I couldn't name you one fighter that I would want to see Katie Taylor fight that's female. It's just not.
Clarissa there. Shields.
I bet they got sweaty clams, by the way.
I'm no expert on the women's boxing scene, but Dave, what weight is Clarissa Shields?
I don't know. She's way bigger than Katie Taylor, but that's why it'd be entertaining.
Middleweight, I
Get,
think.
There's
Yeah,
two.
we
There's two weight. There's two weights in it, is there no?
Nah, there's a few weights, man.
I think America's
Katie's
dominating the
lightweight.
heavyweight division.
She's not welterweight.
She's super feather, yeah.
Super feather.
Yeah, well,
Welter.
at least we get a good knockout.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dave. Right, Tommy, you see the Arnfield against Rose fight and the Ward against Hughes fight? I noticed that the first one had the WBA International Middleweight title on the line, and the Ward fight had the WBC International Super Featherweight title on the line. If Eddie stopped putting these bullshit belts on the line and trying to make it that everybody has to be on their way to world class all the time, and just made them for like British title fights or whatever, would it not be as bad when we see this shit taking place?
Definitely, man. That's what it is. You're getting him. What he's doing is he's getting on these international fights. You take like the likes of Paul Smith and that, for example, then the next thing that they're saying they're on the shout for world title fights, they're world class this or world class that. It is what it is. They're domestic scraps last night. We're not going to fucking kid on or see anything different. It's pretty much bullshit. And see the shit that's going on with O'Hara Davis as well. It's terrible. We're moving him by the domestic level because he's above domestic level. How can he be above domestic level? And see if he is above domestic level, put him in for a Commonwealth title fight. That's Commonwealth's above domestic level, isn't it? Josh Taylor's got the belt, get the fight made.
I've seen that wee tosser comes out after Josh Taylor's win, just try to steal the limelight like a fucking total. That's just cuntish behaviour, by the way. That's all it is.
That's what he's doing. Mayweather used to do that when Pacquiao fought, didn't he? He used to fucking
Aye.
try to steal the limelight and that. That's what it is, man. Nobody really takes that guy seriously, do they? Want to see him in with somebody decent. Let's get him in with Josh. Let's get him in with the boy for Liverpool.
Nah, but the O'Hara Davis, I think about his pay-per-view fight, Mega Millions and all that sort of shit, you know.
Let's talk about wanting to fight Ashley Fiapain and that. What's that if it's not a domestic fight? Come on, to fuck O'Hara Davis. That guy's dead. He even won a British title, man. Fucking hell. Fiapain, fuck me.
I know, but they're trying to fight the likes of Theophane because he's been over in America. They try to say like he's above British title level, which realistically Theophane isn't that much above British title level. It reminds me when Audley used to go and fight over in America under Thel Torrance. He used to go, "Oh, I'm world class, I'm fighting in America, baby." Yeah, but you're having 8 rounders, Audley. You know, you haven't beaten anybody who's resembling British title level. Just because you're in America, Tommy, doesn't mean that you're necessarily beyond British title level.
Does it help, mate? You look at Fiapain, who's the guy actually really beat? He had a good fight with a young Danny Garcia.
Yeah, he did.
It was a very, very young Danny Garcia, but come on, man, that's like Josh Taylor would spank him in about 2 seconds, wouldn't he? Let's cut the bullshit and get that fight made.
I've said before though, man, I mean, you see, years ago, you would probably actually had these domestic guys fighting each other on the way up to European, British level. That's the reason, that's how you fucking learn. That's how you got your stripes. That's how you actually got your title shots, because you fucking were the best in the country or the best in Europe. Now it's all about fucking bullshit ranking 10 shit titles and that, so you can get yourself into a position. I mean, look at what Eddie Hearn's saying about Anthony Crolla there. He says, we'll try and get him an easier world title. That tells you its own fucking story.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be. I like to see it done the old way: British, Commonwealth, European. That's just me, just coming up watching fighters for the past that done that. That's how to me, the way it should be done. Fuck these international titles, not their bullshit.
Ross was getting closer to the mute button. He managed to block Smido, but he seems to have dropped off the call, unfortunately. So we shall endeavour to try and get him back on. In the meantime, this is open to anybody. Dominic X at Dominic_GW on Twitter said, "Question for you boys. Sweet Eminem Morrison, Andy, got me thinking as a nickname. That was what Marcus Morrison's called himself, Sweet Eminem. What are the top 5 worst monikers or aliases of boxers? I think we did go through this a few months ago. I'm trying to think of some of the worst nicknames that boxers have got. Owen, what the heck, Beck?
Aye. I tell you one nickname, it should be banned. Nobody should be allowed to use it, and it should be Sugar. That should be banned from being used by anybody. Because there is only one Sugar.
Henry Sugar Poo Buchanan, do you remember him?
Aye.
He fought Andre Ward, didn't he?
Yeah, and Roy Jones.
The pride of, and then insert any country that you think of, because that's just overused. I've seen Flash getting used a few times. Filipino Flash.
Filipino Flash.
Boo Boo Andre.
yeah, Boo
Horrible.
Boo.
Oh, aye, that's pretty brutal, that one. $1 million. I mean, last night wasn't even $2, was it? Fucking hell.
Was it 2 bob?
It was 2 bob. Aye, fucking aye. One name that used to get used back in the day was Kid. Did he see it getting used much nowadays? Yeah, maybe you had
Ted Kid Lewis. Yeah.
Aye, Kid Lewis, Kid Gavilan. You had Kid Thunder. You had Mike Tyson. He was like Kid Dynamite or something.
Kid Dynamite. Yep.
Oh, Kid Diamond, Brian King's mate from Kazakhstan.
Yep.
Kid Gallagher.
Oh, aye, great enough, aye. But that's and what's the other one? Just trying to think any more. I suppose the other one you could probably say it's not a slant on the guys and that, but Irish. You always get like Irish Andy Lee or Irish Jason Quigley. There's always Irish, like Irish Mickey Ward, for example. There's always like Pat Lawler, for example, as well. They always get fucking flung in there.
Andy, you
Yes.
forgot you forgot the most famous kid's nickname of all. He's from Liverpool. He's a multiple world
Oh,
champion.
Real gone kid.
well done.
The real gone kid.
Real fat kid. Fucking hell.
Well done, mate. Well done.
What would you be, Andy? The Sterling Destroyer?
I would want to be a prison canteen graduate or the White Spider, the White Widow. That's what they call me, the White Widow.
Oh, I forgot about Ekpo. What happened in that fight? Tell us. I forgot about it.
He lost technical decision. Headbutt caused a cut when they went to the cabs.
He would have won, Andy, if that technical decision hadn't happened.
It would have been. I never
robbed.
seen it. I would never seen it, but I would imagine, if Abraham's schooling that guy, schooling him, and then I would imagine Mayorga, who's not really that great, would probably do the same.
It wasn't Abraham. It was Stieglitz.
The will come again, won't he?
Yeah, he'll come again.
Abraham fought him as well, did they not?
That was Wilberforce Hippo.
Yeah. Dave's right, Andy.
All right, okay.
Right, let's close this card out. Joe, Adam has showed his disdain for old Katie. Is she going to fight for a world title in Croke Park?
Wait a minute, I've got one more.
Go on.
One more nickname. Tommy the Teeth Allen. That's fair. One of the guys
don't
in
need
the
for that,
chat.
man. You see that grassing bastard's fearing, man. He's fucking up the can of worms. My Twitter blew up this week after that, man.
That's the guy, that Tim Rowan on the YouTube page. Actually, he just said that one. Tommy the Teeth Allen.
See my shoulder. See, did I show you my shoulder? Have I showed you it?
No.
Oh, see, the teeth marks where the guy bit me are actually embedded still in my shoulder to this day, man. I'm scared to fuck. I was actually in agony when it happened. It was just one of them. You're in pain and you just lash out, don't you? I didn't actually mean to bite his ear off. It just happened.
Tommy Tyson.
Well, I'm for a place called Tullabuddy, and they call me the Tullabuddy Tyson. So it's got a ring to it, that.
Okay, right. Teeth Chedwin. Let's move on. Joe, tell me about Katie before we finish up. Is she going to have this big world title fight in Croke Park? Are we the only ones who care?
Well, I can't see Croke Park ever happening for pretty much any Irish fighter other than Mr. McGregor and MMA. Like, it isn't feasible. Like, especially the population of Ireland. Like, you see it's the equivalent of a Wembley card, but like Ireland as a whole country is what, half the size of London. Like, it's just all fanciful talk. It's clickbait stuff. She will do the 3 Arena, the O2, the Point, whatever it's called now, by the end of the year for a world title. I'm pretty sure of that. And it will sell well. Like, I think the last one here only did 4,000 or 5,000 seats. They had a half those, but like, I can see them coming and getting close enough to a sellout. Like, it might be hard to, even up north or over in Britain, like, it might be hard to understand, but like, she is absolutely massive here. Like, she is proper back page news. Like, I went to a media workout there for about 2 weeks ago, and you had like 3 or 4 chief sports editors all there. Like, she had like this was for the Hey Belly one. Like, she is massive news, and it would do big numbers. She does have crossover appeal, but I always did think that the Eddie signing her up did seem a bit of an odd one, especially when Adams was looking to go pro. Like, Taylor, it's in the bubble over here, it's great, but I do find it hard to see how she's gonna there in Britain.
Talking of stars, Joe, you were over in New York there the other week to see Michael Conlan in action. The event itself seemed amazing. Obviously, the fight wasn't up to much, but it was a professional debut. How did things go? What was the crack like, and Conlan's future prospects?
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant crack. It was a probably good weekend. As you were saying there, the fight wasn't up to much, and the fight was almost like an afterthought. Actually, in fairness, the guy they did get in, they had given him some like 9 or 10 weeks notice, which is mad for an opponent for a professional debut. And he did like get to semi-finals at the Olympic qualifiers in 2008 or something like that. Like, he was a decent, solid, orthodox enough opponent. He wasn't coming in wildly, like nowhere near good enough to have any impact on Conlan. But yeah, just you could see. I think it was our friend Leonard Gunnan was saying how he could see. I think it was Carl Moretti, like almost jizzing himself, is what he was saying. That like it's just, it's hard to like I don't know if it came across on the TV, but the noise in there is something else. Like compared to like the people that like you had all the American journalists were there because the BWAA awards were the previous night, and then the following night had Golovkin Jacobs, and like they were just absolutely amazed at like the noise that was coming. It was the downstairs, so it was only 5,000 people. And they said there were only 2,000 that travelled from Ireland, but there must have been a lot more. Like, it seemed like a lot more. And they had got in contact with all the Celtic supporters clubs. So, like, there was a lot of Celtic fans there. Like, the amount of Scottish accents there was actually quite, like, that's what really shocked me. But, yeah, like...
There was definitely more than 2,000 Irish there that night. It was mostly Irish. It was 5,500 there or something. 5,000. It was definitely more than 2,000 Irish there that night.
Yeah, definitely. I know there are a fair few Irish living over there, but I'd say a lot more made the trip over. But he's like instantaneously just become like a proper cash cow for them now. Like we were told there that they've booked out the arena upstairs for the next 5 years straight.
Wow!
And that it's just going to become like an annual sort of thing. That Conlan on St. Patrick's Day, guaranteed sellout. Like they like I think the purses were 15,000 for Conlan and 5,000 for a bar. Like the amount of money they must have made in that show, and the bar like. There were complaints about the bar because the bar in the theatre is a tiny little thing and queues are mental. But yeah, like I think they just can't believe their luck with what they've gotten.
But Eddie Hearn wasn't interested in Michael Conlan because he wasn't wanting to get in the Irish market. What a fucking nonce!
He's dropped the ball there, hasn't he?
Fucking lying bastard.
Tommy, you were there we haven't heard from you. Did we hear from you last week? I can't remember. I don't think we did we?
I was still in New York last Sunday, mate. I was steaming last Sunday.
Go on then, talk to me. What happened?
As Joe was saying, that was an unbelievable night. The atmosphere was incredible. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't actually a bad night of boxing either. There was a lot of knockdowns in that on the card and that. A lot of good punches in that. Conceição was on it as well, the Brazilian Olympic gold medalist, and that. It was good to see him. So that was a great night. Obviously, the following night speaks for itself as well. You had the Triple G fight. You had Chocolito losing, obviously, his crown. You had the fight with Quadras as well. That was an unbelievable weekend. That's one of the most enjoyable weekends of boxing I've ever been to. That was phenomenal. It was good to see how they come out for Michael as well. He's a nice kid and just a brilliant night. Brilliant night.
Thanks for that, Tommy. As I said, we'll get Joe in on Frampton and Quigley in a minute. Let's move through a few of the pre-reviews from the weekend. Meadowbank Sports Centre, Andy, this is right up your street. I was knackered on Friday night and I watched most of the card. I watched Conrad Cummings. I saw a bit of Jason Easton, a bit of Nick Webb, all the other bits and pieces. Got to Josh. I was into about round 3 of the fight with Warren Joubert for the Commonwealth title, a defence for Josh, obviously, Andy. And I says, I'm going to go to bed here. And I never actually ended up catching up again. I saw a clip on YouTube, I think, or on Twitter. Was it a left hand in the end from Taylor that got rid of this guy? But I mean, the writing was on the wall right from the beginning.
I'm trying to remember actually how the fight finished. I've been fucked this weekend, but he looked good. I mean, I tweeted out kind of sarcastically saying he's been watching the god Lomachenko because the South African just basically stood there with the hands up in the corner and stuff, so you could see Josh kind of peppering away. But there were sometimes I think to myself, well, he's not really landing much. But then as the rounds kind of ticked by, he started kind of dragging the guard down and then firing shots in and stuff. He was just far too classy. I know he got badly cut, or he did get cut anyway. And it was like the second round, he's like desperate to end it for some reason. He was making kind of sloppy mistakes and that. So a couple of things to work on there still, but you know, it is looking good. But as I say, just general, just class above. You know, the card itself was okay, I suppose. You know, Cummings got a good win. I mean, I think they were expected to go a distance in that fight, was he? No, because that guy's, you know, he's quite tough and experienced or whatever. But really good counter left hook to basically kind of end the fight. So I think it was only 2 fights I caught in that card. But as for Josh Taylor, man, he's ready for the step up to either British or European level. I did agree. You know, I've been saying it for a while. That's why I'm a big fan. I like the Cleverly and Jimmy McDonald, because they went the traditional route. I like to see Josh do it that way as well. You know, Commonwealth, British, European. But you just wonder about his age. I know he's not old. He's 26 and stuff. So there's still time yet. But I like to see him kind of like pick up the domestic European titles and then step up to world class. I mean, I know they're talking about hopefully at some point fighting at Edinburgh Castle. You know, it's one place we kind of looked at for years, that type of fight happening there. But I would say it would need to be really good weather for it, and we just didn't get it in this country, so I don't know how far away we are for that. But you know, really good performance. It says you'll be out for a few months now to like that cut heel. We'll have a Davis fight. That's what we want to see next, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen because Eddie Hearn's a cunt.
I see they're called. Barry was saying that they're hunting the Ricky Burns fight now, aren't they? I think they really fancy that fight. They
mentioned it, but I really think that it's just Barry maybe just, you know, obviously just kind of like promoting him a wee bit. I don't think that fight's going to happen anytime. It don't happen this year anyway, put it that way. Obviously, it's a pass to the torch type fight. I would think maybe... I remember Josh and Ricky sparring, actually, and Josh gave him a lot of problems for the first couple of rounds. This was probably before the Olympics, actually, in 2012. So, you know, Josh is obviously, he's got older, he's got better, he's got stronger, so he's probably the more legit light welterweight, maybe. You know, obviously, he's got youth on his side, so you just think, you know, the longer they leave it, I think Josh might just get him at the right time. But as it says, Ricky, he's just got an iron will sometimes. He just only allow himself to be kind of knocked out and kept on the floor. But I kind of got the impression as there was maybe just mentioning his name, but I don't think it's any time soon. Like,
well, they've got another fight there at super lightweight. They've got that Jason Easton. Did you see the Easton fight?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did see that fight. I know.
He put that Sabo away. That Sabo gave that Davis Jr. a good fight, didn't he?
Is that the one I'm thinking about? I remember I says that the guy that Cummings was fighting was meant to give him a distance fight. It was. No,
he was as well, but this guy Sabo,
yeah,
I watched him against Davis Jr. and it was a body shot that put him away, wasn't it?
Was that him who stopped Stephen Ormond as well?
Jason Easton.
He did stop him. They fought twice. Haven't they?
That's right. Yeah.
Sabo did.
Sabo has that.
Yeah. Sabo knocked him out.
Yeah.
They fought twice, haven't they? But he was impressive, that boy Easton. So that could be. I think Cyclone have got a wee share in Easton, haven't they? So that could be a good fight. I
thought it was Billy Nelson was. I thought it was Billy Nelson. I don't know if you know, obviously Billy and Barry are quite pally and that, so maybe they're just, you know, a friendship deal there, get some of the fighters on the card, get some exposure, etc. But no, Easton certainly looks like one to watch. Me, I'm obviously not going to anoint him or anything like that, but he seems to be an exciting fighter to watch anyway, based off that performance anyway.
Smitho, did you see any of this? Anything that excited you? A bit of Nick Webb get you up on a Friday night?
Short answer to that one, Steve, is no. Fuck Scotland. Scotland can go on their own, independent, give it them. They can't survive on their own 2 feet.
Steady, Smitho, steady, son.
Smitho, you old troll.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, that is not this one, thank you. Right, okay, we shall move on. Joe, just regarding Conrad Cummings, a quick word on him. He won the vacant WBO European middleweight title, which, I mean, yeah, fair play, got a win. But I would prefer Conrad to either have a rematch with Alfredo Melli, the two of them obviously drew, or maybe go the British title route or something like that. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a big pet peeve of mine, the WBC International, the WBO European, and like it hasn't been eligible now, as far as I know, for the EBU title as well. Like it's a real pointless title in a way that, like, unless you're planning on going for an almost immediate up through the ranks and targeting world level, but being ranked number 10 in the world doesn't really mean anything if you're not targeted. Like if world titles aren't in your future for another 3 or 4 years at least, if ever. Like I would have preferred that. I still think like the Mealy match, There's no footage of it. It was a good fight, draw, probably fair. Mealy shouldn't be there. Like, I almost don't want to see that again because he had probably at least a stone on him in the ring that night. I would like to see that. I would BBBOC Celtic or Celtic title and then British. That way, it just seemed like it's better for preparing you going up through the ranks. Like this guy, what was it, Gogi Knezovic? He'd been stopped every time he left Austria. Like, he wasn't a brilliant opponent. It was a really good finish and was the best that Cummings had looked, but there wasn't much opposition there.
One potential future opponent, Joe. Could we be seeing Cummings in against maybe Jason Quigley or something? Quigley obviously got a good win last Thursday night against Glenn Tapia. I know that maybe Tapia's a bit of a shell now. If you want to speak on Quigley to Tapia first, and then maybe talk about a possible future fight with Cummings.
Yeah, I stayed up for the Quigley Tapia fight on Thursday, yeah. And like, I think the world and his wife were expecting for Quigley to stop him inside 3 or 4, and it looked like he was going to be. It looked like he was on the way there. The first 2 rounds, he hurt Tapia about 4 or 5 times. We now know that I don't know if he broke, but we know he seriously injured his hand. I put up a picture of it there earlier. Like, it's the size of a football. So he basically couldn't throw the right hand for 8 rounds, and allowed Tapia, shell as he may have been, and admittedly he was, he allowed Tapia back into the fight. I don't know if he gassed or just because he couldn't throw. But like, it became a much tougher than anticipated fight, and it was meant to be a showcase fight, the first Golden Boy and ESPN card, and I think they were expecting Quigley to be destructive, and instead he got like a tough learning fight, a tough Frampton against Robbie Turley sort of fight, which, and to be honest, like, I have no issues or qualms or worries. Like, it's grand. It was only his 13th fight, but like, if you were watching, Atlas was so negative about him. I think the way they were trying to frame it, as in like, this was he's only 1 or 2 fights away from a world title, and this is like his big acid test, when realistically it was just a learning fight. Like, he isn't a Lomachenko or an Usyk sort of fighter that he's going to be, like, he's still going to be challenging for a world title if he does at the same sort of time frame as most pros. Like, it's going to be early 20s fights, maybe late teens if he's progressed quite quickly. But yeah, he looked good early rounds, and he did. Like, he showed a bit of grit, which was the first time he had to do that. So I thought I wouldn't take too many negatives away from it.
Hey to Dave, I'm hoping that you've seen this ESPN card, have you? Because it wasn't only Quigley Tapia that was on, but it looked like a pretty decent card all round. Randy Caballero returned against Jesus Ruiz, winning a 10-round decision. Toriano Johnson was in action. Mauricio Herrera, a couple of other guys of various levels. Did you see any of this one, Hey to Dave, last Thursday on ESPN?
I didn't, no. I probably would have picked Tapia to win because I've heard of Quigley. I've never seen him, and I don't really know much about him. But I guess he's an up-and-comer. Tapia is a decent step up for his 13th fight, 14th fight, something like that. Yeah. That's a decent step up. So, yeah, good luck to him.
Couple of other results of note over the weekend. Johnny Gonzalez, we mentioned him last week. I think he should probably pack it in now. He's had about 70 odd fights. He won a WBC Latino super featherweight title with a knockout win over Francisco Contreras. That was over in Mexico. I'd say they'll probably wheel out Gonzalez again at some point. He is a bit of a name from back in the day, so they can maybe get some value out of him. Over in Finland, I know everyone cares a great deal about this one. Juho Hapoya. Andy, you're always up on these ones. Vacant cruiserweight title against Leonardo Damian Bruzzese. Don't know if you saw any of that one, Andy, no?
Nah, Finnish boxing's really hard to get your hands on, mate. It's funny. To be honest, the whole scene over there is actually quite weird because there's a lot of money over there, and generally speaking, some of these shows are kind of like dinner events and type of things, and it's usually on pay-per-view, etc. Edis Tatley's obviously and Robert Arlenius, who's maybe they're 2 top-ish fighters and that, but I'll not see that until someone puts it up on a torrent website somewhere. Didn't catch it, mate, at all.
We did, Andy, already speak, didn't we, against Zoigo, against Ekpo? I think that was only about 5 rounds or so completed in the end. Was it a clash of heads, did you say, or something like that?
Aye, technical decision, mate. I think Zoigo got cut above the right eye. It's made a big, bad cut just underneath the eyelid, and just went to the cards, basically said they couldn't continue. I think he won it on the 3 scorecards. I think Ekpo won maybe one round by looks at him, on all his scorecards by looks at it.
Yeah, Zoiga, I'm not really sure where he's going. The most interesting thing that I noticed on that card was it was for the WBA World Super Middleweight title, but also for the Global Boxing Union title. That was also on the line. Quite why they're paying the sanction fees for that shit.
Also to remember, as Paul Smith was ringside last night having a look, he put on Instagram apparently says, I'm having a look at my next opponent. So hopefully it's Ekpo.
Yeah, exactly. Funny effects.
Hopefully you move there, mate. Fucking hell.
Big class effect Poe beat him, Tommy, wouldn't he?
Oh, that would be brilliant, man. See the throw on Twitter, that would be outstanding, eh?
Joe G would actually kill himself with a dog lead.
Ekpo's out the prison canteen. Paul Smith's out the Sky Studio canteen, eh?
Brilliant.
Oh dear. Right, let's move on. Smido, we haven't heard from you in a while. That's always a bad sign in my book. Rory McGonigal, friend of mine, always sends in good questions. He says, I've got a question for the pod, for you, particularly Mr. Adam Smith. Of all the world champions that the UK has now, how many have a legitimate claim to being the number one in their division? A lot of people talk about this so-called golden age, but I'm not so sure, says Rory, given that a few of the current champions are actually truly elite. Not all of them are elite, are they, Smido?
No, absolutely not. And we've got into that situation by having a title madness that has been created by a number of the governing bodies, if not all of them. Tyson Fury, but obviously he's got his issues. James DeGale, probably, given that the other kid's moving up. What's his name? Badu Jack. Given that he's moving up, so James DeGale of the current crop has probably got the most legitimate claim. Obviously, AJ's the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet, so he's right in there. Who else is there? I don't really know. Like you say, it's Kell Brook has got an argument, but obviously he's not beat Garcia or Thurman, or Thurman, should I say? So yeah, not many. We've been here before, to be honest. It's a golden age.
Amir Khan, come on,
Amir Khan. No, Amir Khan is like the Labour Party currently, irrelevant. Again, another bit of a politics angle for you. No, I mean he isn't irrelevant, Amir Khan. I don't know. Yeah, there's a few, but golden age. We're looking in terms of interest in the sport and bums on seats. We're right up there, and obviously we're going to see that next month at Wembley when however many people turn up, and then a few people will turn up in Sheffield and for the Brook fight, and we're doing well on that front. But in terms of on the world stage, the thing is nowadays you don't have to be the best in the division for your broadcaster, promoter, friends and family and fans to claim that you're the best in the division, and that's the problem.
Right. Let's have a look. Who've we got? Hey to Dave, let's hit you with this one. Another situation that we keep coming back to, but it's the thorny issue from Ben Thorns of weight making. I don't know what your opinion on this is, Dave, whether it should change, whether it should stay the same. But Ben is asking you the question. Would the panel like to see changes to the weigh-in procedure? And if so, what? For example, maybe a check weigh-in on the fight night or same-day weigh-ins. Where are we going to go with this, Dave? Do we have to make changes to the way people weigh in?
Yes, big changes. I'm glad I got this question because I have very strong feelings about it. I think we need cage-side weigh-ins. I think we need to go back to fighters fighting at their natural weights. No more of this weight-cutting culture and then stacking on 20 pounds the next night. It's horrible. It's killing the sport. Not the only thing killing the sport, but it's a terrible thing, and it's hurting all combat sports, not just boxing. I think it's creating ridiculous fights where you have these guys with huge size advantages, and they're not fighting other opponents that are like even matches. I think it had a big impact on the recent Golovkin fight. I think we get better fighters and better fights if guys were fighting closer to their natural weights. I think they got more stamina. I think they got more speed. And I think they can take a shot better. I don't like this culture. I don't know where it started. I guess it just sort of naturally progressed when they moved from same-day weigh-ins to the day before weigh-ins. I mean, the guys are always going to go for any advantage they can get, so they're going to try to boil themselves down and then get as much of an advantage they can in size the next 24 hours.
But I think
Dave, I agree. But how are we going to police it? Do we need to weigh them every day for a week, or do we need compulsory check weigh-ins every week for 8 weeks? I don't know, but like, how are we going to actually police it? If someone has the ability and the sports science and the body type and the diet, whatever, to make a weight at any given time, then so be it.
Ringside weigh-ins.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
They have to weigh that much when they're fighting. And if they haven't done it healthy, that's on them. I mean, people may get hurt seriously sometimes, but it's not a common thing. I think what was the fight that really forced them to do it? Was it the Dooku Kim guy?
Japanese guy, yeah.
South Korean guy. Was it shut?
Yeah. But I mean, the problem is the argument with same day weigh-ins is, you're in a weak, you could be your body could be in a weak position, and then going in to take blows to the body and face. I don't know. It's a tough one. I've not got no real solution for it. And I do agree with Dave.
I feel like if you're coming in weak deliberately just to boil down to a weight, that's on you. I mean, it may sound harsh, but this is a harsh business. You gotta make sure you're fighting at a weight that's comfortable for you. And it's happening in the UFC a lot now, where the guys, they can't make the weight anymore. They're not disciplined enough, or they're just too goddamn big. And they're trying to boil down, and then they're unhealthy. The boiling down itself is unhealthy. I think it's arguably more unhealthy than coming in a weakened state.
I quite like the way the IBF do it along the lines. Let them weigh in the day before, but you just can't gain too much weight after the fight. That's going to stop a lot of fighters, boiling right down.
It's a step in the right direction. I agree.
Yeah. But then you've got guys like Danny Jacobs who just right at it, didn't they?
Yeah,
I've heard a coach in Ireland suggest things that are called a dehydration test, where you do the same day weigh-in, and to make sure that there's no, Dooku Kim, there's nothing like that, that there's actually this test you can do to check how dehydrated a person's body is. And if they're above a certain threshold, just don't let them fight. So it ensures that fighters fight at the correct weight, and it eliminates even the possibility that they're boiling down whatsoever.
That's an interesting suggestion. Definitely, it certainly is. Joe, while you're on, tell me about Frampton. This Santa Cruz fight isn't going to happen, is it? Like, what's he going to do?
I went to the BWAA awards dinner, and he was there, so I was chatting to him there. He does not seem confident whatsoever about the Santa Cruz fight. He gave the line that it's still a possibility, but I don't think anyone can see it. The Selby fight either, I'm finding that harder and harder to see as well. Like, Selby, I have a feeling Selby's going to move up. He's so tight at the weight. And then, like, he dropped into the conversation the word curveball, and that made me think that, I don't know if you saw it, but Frampton's been installed as number 1 in the WBC rankings. And
Gary Russell.
Yeah, Gary Russell. And he's definite that he wanted to be in Windsor Park in Belfast. And I've seen him say that, whereas he used to be saying that both Russell and Valdez, I can't see them coming to Belfast. Now all the lines are, I can't see Valdez coming to Belfast. So I think it could be Russell, which sounds a bit far fetched, but it's sounding more and more possible now. Like,
yeah,
I think the way he was talking on Friday night, he wants it at Windsor Park next, and he wants it for a world title. So if he could pretty much get anybody for featherweight or super featherweight over in the summer, that's probably the direction he'll go.
Yeah, and the Mares fight, I think, is a brilliant fight, and it's an immensely winnable fight as well. But the fact is, he held the WBA regular title, and whereas I see Fran would like to fight Mares, I think from a personal point of view, he almost won't want to fight for the WBA regular purely due to like the back and forth he had with Quig for about 2 or 3 years. That I don't think he'd be lower. What you call it? He wouldn't lower himself to fight for the WBA regular.
I agree.
Excellent stuff. Joe, thanks very much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. You're at Joe90 on Twitter, isn't that right?
I am indeed, and irishboxing.com as well.
Yep, Joe's the assistant editor of irishboxing.com, an establishment that I have worked for myself for many years in the past. So thanks for joining us, Joe. We'll hopefully get you back on in the future as well, if you're willing.
No worries, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers.
All right, best mate.
That was Joe there. Right, Tommy, we didn't get your 2 pence worth about Golovkin and Jacobs last week, did we? Do you want to throw something in quickly before we move on?
It's just that it was an incredible fight. I've obviously seen a few conflicting scores and that. I thought that Triple G just staged at 7-5. Obviously, it's a 3-point fight for me with a knockdown. I've really not got a problem with anybody scoring it for Jacobs, but what a fight. Danny really surprised me. I thought he was going to go in there and get blew to bits. I actually spoke to somebody over there. It was I don't know who the guy is. He was a member of Team Jacobs, but he's told me that Danny knew he's doing the nutrition and that, right? When he was getting stopped in that, hurting that earlier in his career, that the weight and that was obviously a problem, but they're doing it right now, and I think it showed in the fight. I thought he was outstanding. I was really pulling for him in the fight. I just thought that Triple G nicked it, but I'd like to see a rematch with they two. I obviously think Triple G is going to go the Billy Joe Saunders direction next, but I was really impressed with Danny. He's a top fighter.
While we're on the subject of Billy Joe Saunders, Triple G, Canelo and all those things, Tommy, I'm going to try this out. I have a clip to play. I know that Billy Joe Saunders has been talking on iFilm London, so I managed to snatch this. I don't know what you guys think of it. Hopefully we'll be able to hear it okay. Let's hear Billy Joe Saunders talking about Canelo during the week on iFilm London.
I'll tell you what Canelo is, Cogan. He's a little ginger pussy. A little ginger faggot. That's what he is. I don't know what Golovkin's worried about him for, because he had a belt and he gave it to him. He don't want to fight Golovkin. He don't want to fight nobody. Again, they want to fight people. They want to bring people down. Look, he's bringing Chavez down to stupid weights. He won't go to 160 to fight Golovkin. He wouldn't have me, but yet he'll have Chavez coming down. He's just a nobody to worry about, because he's only trying to protect something. Legacy. The only legacy he's got is getting beat off Mayweather. Nothing else. He might have tons and tons of money. Good luck, fair play to him. I know how hard the sport is. He deserves it. But in my opinion, he'll never go down as a great. Never, ever, ever. I'm not saying I'm going to go down as a great, but as a boxing fan, he will never go down as a great in my book. Ever.
What do you think about that then, Tommy?
That's real talk, by the way.
Well,
Brilliant.
if you can look at Billy Joe and Golovkin, right? But what can you say about Canelo? He's beat Lara, he's beat Trout, he's beat Cotto. So, who's the guy that's fighting the top fighters in the sport? It's Canelo Alvarez, obviously, isn't it? And to me, I know everybody points to the fact that he gave up the title, but if you've got a shred of common sense, you know how he gave it up. They gave him a week to negotiate that fight, and it was going to be a 55%, 45% split on the purse because Triple G was interim champion. That isn't going to happen. There's an offer there, and it's around $15 million. Triple G needs that fight. He needs to take the fight. He needs to take the short end, just like Floyd Mayweather's done in the past, Oscar De La Hoya's done in the past, Manny Pacquiao's done in the past, Felix Trinidad's done in the past. He needs that fight with Canelo. The offer's there. He should sign the contract and fight. That's just my opinion on it.
We've had some.
He
back
beat
and
an old
forth on
Cotto.
this.
He never beat Lara, and he fucking drew with Trout in my book.
I had the Trout fight a draw. I thought he beat Lara, and Cotto was a champion, wasn't he?
Tommy, you and I have had some back and forth on this, and I'm coming round to agree with you now, to be fair. Canelo is, regarding the Billy Joe comments about he will never go down as a legend or whatever he said, an all-time great, whatever the word is.
He's already, see to me, Canelo Alvarez right now, he retires right now, he's a Hall of Famer. That's just my opinion. What age is he? What age is he now? 26-year-old.
Yeah, that's my point. He's got another 10 years to build on that, or 8 or 10 years to build on that, and he could easily have a Hall of Fame or borderline all-time great resume by the end of that. We don't know. From what we've seen from Golovkin in his last 2 fights, and I'm one of his biggest fans, he's on the decline. So Canelo's got a chance of beating Golovkin. And as you've put it there, Tommy, to be fair, I am coming round to agreeing about the Golovkin should take that fight on the terms that you've suggested. And as I've always said about fights and when it comes down to money, and we had it with Frampton, to me, it shouldn't be in your mind. We had it with Bellew Hay as well. It shouldn't be in your mind what the other geezer is getting paid. It should be in your mind what you are getting paid, and are you happy with that? Unless it's like something ridiculous, like 90%, 10%. But you know, if Golovkin, at his age and his profile and nationality and all that, and he needs a fight, blah blah blah. If he's happy with what he's getting paid, if it's what did you say, Tommy? 10 million, 15 million?
They're talking about he's got the upside now. They could make. He's got a 10 million guarantee, but I think he could make 15 million with the upside.
So 10 million is a lot more than he's probably 3 times more than what he's made in any single fight during his career, possibly 4 times more. If Golovkin is happy with that money, then take it. It don't matter what Canelo is getting paid. Canelo is bringing in a lot of the pay-per-views. Golovkin's profile has obviously increased over the last 3 or 4 years, but Canelo is the superstar. We can't get away from that, to be fair.
See the way they look at it, they could mention pound for pound this, pound for pound that. But if you look at when Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd was the pound for pound king by a mile. There was nobody near him, and he made $50 million less than De La Hoya. Now, if Triple G, he wants to be this massive star. He's getting paid well for it. He goes into that fight, he wins that fight, then he is the star. He's the A-side against everybody. So you've got to take the gamble, haven't you?
Yeah, and we're getting to the stage now where the ingredients are blending together nicely in my mind, because Golovkin, and I said it after the Brook fight, if you're any middleweight, including Canelo, you'll fancy your chances more than you did the night before, and the same with Jacobs. You fancy your chances more now than you did a month ago with Golovkin. So and Golovkin might feel it, or his trainer might feel it, and know that they're potentially on the decline. Age is catching up with him potentially. The fight needs to be made. It really does.
It was great trash talk. That's how you get a fight, and Golovkin should have done the same thing. He should have been there.
Yeah,
Golovkin is ginger pussy. I want that fight next.
That sounded like Sergey, actually.
Talking of Sergey, actually, is this Ward rematch happening or not? I was here in the middle of June. Any updates?
No, I seen Kovalev tweet out about this, and I'm sure he says he's signed the contract and everything's sitting with Ward's team just now, so we know what's going to happen there. He's looking for a lawsuit first so he can drag it out into court.
That'll be a shame, guys, if it doesn't happen, won't it? I mean, I think it was John David Jackson, didn't he put the tweet up during the week of Ward returning in 2015, like an old man sort of Ward mocked up on Photoshop or something?
You just notice, see if you actually insult him like that, like Andre Ward, you can just see him fucking pulling his blood-soaked fucking fanny pad and just throwing the fucking everything about and he'll take the fight. That's the type of fucking bitch he is sometimes.
Thanks for that image. Anybody else want to weigh in on Ward Kovalev? No?
I will, Steve. The thing with Ward is, like, he is goddamn good. He's very, very good, and he fought a good fight. Win, lose or draw, he's still. They both fought with a lot of credit. But Ward is not that popular, and he doesn't remain in the fans' mindset while he's out the ring, a la Floyd or Pacquiao, for example. When he's not fighting and he's not active, I think it's an irrelevance. It was almost an irrelevance in the lead up to the Kovalev fight. Dave's mentioned that before on here. The Yanks have that. For the super fight did they make enough of it? So the thing is with Ward, flirting with retirement and saying he's the boss, people just say, well, fuck off then. We'll move on and we'll support someone else. Whereas when Floyd was doing it, there was clamour for him to, it was a two-way part of the game. But for Ward, if he fucks about, then no one cares.
I agree with that. I also think if Ward does keep fighting, he definitely needs to give Kovalev this rematch. Either it's the Kovalev rematch or retire.
See Kovalev last week, man. I don't know if anyone's seen my tweet. He just went so much higher in my estimation for being a fucking badass, man. Let me set the scene, right? You're in a bar in the hotel. We're on the media and that are staying. The bar's full of media. It's full of boxing people and that. I'm standing there looking sharp, showered, well dressed. I see Kovalev coming up. was like, oh, yes, man, picture opportunity. So I runs over, well, I didn't run over, I kind of walked over, had my camera phone, and had my phone in selfie mode. Sergey, any chance you have a picture? Now I'm standing there with the phone ready to take a selfie, and it just says hi and fucking walks right past me, man. So I'm standing there with the phone like a fucking absolute dickhead about 100 eyes on me, man. What a fucking guy. Absolute
You should have
legend,
sparked
man.
him, Tommy.
Fuck's given.
I couldn't move for laughing, man. He just doesn't give a fuck. He's a badass dude, like. That was hilarious, man.
Right. Not too much on the way of big fights next week. Andy's reminding me that Huck's fighting against Briedis. We also have the Bellew of the Week coming up. Who have we got left on the call alongside me, Steve? We have Adam Smith, Dave the Hater Lowback, Andy Patterson, Tommy the Guru Allen. Russ made a glorious appearance earlier, some great insight from him. And we had Joe O'Neill from irishboxing.com. One fight that has fallen under the radar over the past few weeks, I know a couple of guys have mentioned it on Twitter and that, but whenever we have a busy week, I like to leave these things to the quieter weeks. Liam Walsh against Gervonta Davis. I haven't got a clue about the date. It could be late April, early May, I think. It's a pretty good fight, though, and fair play to Frank for getting Gervonta Davis over. Andy, any thoughts on this one? This Davis, we've only seen him against, was it Pedraza, wasn't it? He looked pretty damn good.
He looked good, mate. I think, well, I try to remember, did he knock him out again? I think.
Yeah,
I might be talking shite, but I think it might be like for like knockout of the year. I mean, the kid looks good. I know he's had his problems with Floyd, wanting to be more active and stuff. So good to see a quick turnaround about on fighting next after winning the title, coming to UK as well. So as I say, Liam Walsh. You know, there's no time like the present. I mean, this guy's it's like he's been held back for whatever reason. He's got talent. There's no question about it. So I'm glad to see him maybe take this step up. Actually, I like to see him maybe take a step up to like the better European class before he actually got the world title shot. But you know, we can't be beggars in this one. Eh? So I think it could be a good fight. Could be a good, really good atmosphere. But you know, Walsh tends to bring a good crowd with him. Floyd in the background, kind of acting the cunt in that as well. So it should be an all good night of carnage. It's a bit too early for a pick, but see, to be honest, I do like the look of Gervonta Davis actually, and there's not been much I've seen him, but just off that Pedraza fight alone, it does look like he could go far. I'm not saying he's going to be like a superstar or anything like that, but he does look like an exciting fighter as long as he keeps himself out of problems as well. I suppose where he stays and that. I know he stays for like some shithole fucking upbringing and stuff, you know, and so hopefully kind of stays, he keeps his nose clean and stuff, because the kid does look good. As for Liam Walsh, you know, this is like it's like his Ricky Burns moment as such, you know what I mean? He gets a world title shot right out of the blue, and it's his opportunity to fucking stamp his card and make some fucking good money down the line, because I don't think he'll get another chance after this one.
Sorry to interrupt the new lads. I'm just looking at Twitter now, right? And Zora Suleiman's tweeted out that 20-year-old boxer Jordan Coe from Falkirk has died in Thailand from suspected heat stroke.
Seen that, mate. I seen that a guy that James Goyder on Twitter. He says he was trying to make 61 kilos for 64 kilos, and he was out running with a sweatsuit on, and apparently, according to the pictures, basically collapsed and died with his sweatsuit on.
Jeez, oh man.
It's roasting hot air at this time of year. R.I.P. to that guy, like, going fucking, it's tragic.
20-year-old as well, fucking hell.
That's terrible, Tommy. Yeah, rest in peace, Jordan Coe. Sorry to hear that now. Yeah, I think I saw something about that just before I was about to come on the air, actually. So that's sad times indeed whenever a boxer passes away. So thoughts with his family and stuff. Tommy, tell me about this Walsh against Davis fight. Andy's quite balanced there, I thought. A lot of people on Twitter are saying, Davis is going to destroy him based off the way he looked against Pedraza, and he did look very, very good. But Liam Walsh is no mug, Tommy. He's a good fighter.
Liam Walsh is no mug, but I'm leaning towards the side that are saying he's going to get a beating in this fight. I'm really, really high on Davis. I think he's the goods. He might not get stopped, but I think it could look maybe just similar to maybe last night or something with Crolla and Linares, that kind of type of fight where he wins. He takes a bit of an ass whooping and loses wide on points. I like Liam. I've liked him for years. He beat my man Scott Harrison, even though Scott was president that at the time.
Probably in a fucking great fight as well, mate. Remember the Paul Appleby fight?
That was a good. I'll tell you what, that was a proper fight. That would have been a few years earlier. Scott would obviously have beat him, but I'm leaning towards Davis. I was high. I really like Pedraza. I was high on him, and the job that Davis done on him, I was I was kind of shocked by that. So I'm definitely Team Davis. I think the kid's are good.
Smido, what about you? And then Dave afterwards, if you want to weigh in on this one as well.
Yeah, well, I hadn't seen a lot of Davis until he battered Pedraza in what was, definitely an impressive performance. But hats off to Frank, really. Liam Walsh has been knocking on the door for a while. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was had a fight scheduled with Ricky Burns at one stage that went tits up for whatever reason. I think, Liam Walsh is certainly better than his reputational profile would suggest to the British fan. We're apparently meant to pat people on the back for Eddie and Kell Brook signing up to fight a mandatory challenger. But yet Liam Walsh has managed to get a rising star in Gervonta Davis over here as a voluntary, as I understand it, and it's not on. We don't need pay-per-view or any bullshit for that. Obviously, BT you do have to pay extra for, but yeah, I mean, fair play to him. And it's and like Andy said, it's a little bit out of the blue. Gervonta Davis could be a superstar, but I think you could be catching him at the right time, i.e., a little bit of experience. He's got to come away for the first time. He looks like he's got the attitude to handle it, like Floyd. But there's been some Floyd wannabes that can't handle it. So we'll find out.
I think Steve's had to step away for it. Oh, there you are. When you go, Steve.
Yep. Sorry, I'm just back again. Hey to Dave. Do you have any comments on this Davis Walsh fight just before we move on?
Well, I just learned on this show that it was happening. It's a good fight. I have not seen Walsh fight except for that Scott Harrison fight, and Harrison was fantastic.
They've watched Liam Walsh against Paul Appleby. That was a war of attrition, that one. So you get a better idea what his grit, what his heart, what his balls is like.
So he's more of a slugger, or
no? He's a decent boxer, mate. But see, if he's forced into the trenches, he will go like. He can fight if he needs to.
That was the very first fight in Box Nation, that one, wasn't it? That was a great fight, that, wasn't it?
That was
Appleby was never ever the same after that fight, was he?
I remember he was back in the gym actually a week after that fight, but yeah, he gave everything. I think he might even knocked Walsh down, if I remember rightly, and then he got knocked down off a body shot, and Billy's like, "Look, mate, you're done. You've run your course now, and just stop the fight." But it was like I think about 10 rounds it lasted. A great fight. Aye. But I think Paul was saying because it was mid-July or something like that. It was really hot in the York Hall that night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That makes me feel like maybe this is going to be competitive early, and I think that the athletic advantages that Gervonta Davis has, I think he's like a kind of a freak, top level elite athlete. I don't know about his skills, which they seem competent. I think that will give him the edge in a brawl when it becomes a brawl, and I think Davis probably stop him in like mid-late rounds. But it's a good fight. I mean, it's not like a sure thing for sure, because Davis is so young, and Liam has so much experience. Not world level, but still, it's valuable. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gervonta come unstuck in one of these early defenses here.
Dave, one person you might be aware of, who was the Russian that Walsh dominated there in his last fight or fight before last? Wasn't it
that guy that Terence Crawford dominated as well, and did it in about the same way, 120, 108 with a knockdown included. So I mean, he's in good company if he's doing that to Klimov.
Yeah, Walsh is pretty decent. He's paid his dues at British level, and he's moving on to the world scene now, so good luck to him. Right, we're not going to mess about any longer. Let's get on to the previews for next week. First of all, nobody has to speak about this. I'm just going to mention it. I'm surprised to see Ricardo and Mayorga's returning to the ring in Nicaragua on April Fool's Day, Saturday the 1st of April.
I'm not surprised. He fucking needs the money.
He's
fucking. He every time you see Mayorga, man, he's lying in a fucking gas station, fucking drunk, sitting in his car.
He made a fortune in his pro career as well, man. He had some big fights against some elite stars, didn't he?
Oscar, remember he was champion when he fought Oscar, was he no?
Aye, Oscar, Tito, Vernon Forrest. There's not much money in Vernon Forrest, right enough. Cotto.
Remember that first fight with fucking That fight with Tito actually was he's just landing left hooks.
Fucking let him have him. And
but the fourth fucking left hook, he's like, nah, I better back off for that one. Like, absolutely.
He deserved to get chinned that night. He deserved to get chinned that night. Just here, dude, didn't he? Fuck me, man. That was loud.
Pure space cadet.
Didn't he fight Vargas up at super middleweight at the end or something, Tommy?
He did, man. That was a clown show, wasn't it? Fucking. I remember the press conferences were more memorable than the fucking fight, to be honest. I actually think Vargas won that fight, to be honest, though. But both guys well past their prime, weren't they? See that Forrest fight, man, that still shocks me to this day. Both of them, actually. I was massive on Vernon Forrest. I couldn't believe it when I lost to Mayorga.
Shane Moser knocked him out, did he not?
Yeah, he did.
Aye. That was a good fight, that was a good fight with Mosley as well. That was close going in the last round, and Mosley just wiped him out right at the end, didn't he? Right in the bell.
Every time I mention Mayorga, I have to come off from a little anecdote. I remember Mayorga's coming out party, his first fight when he beat Andrew Sixheads Lewis for the WBA title. The late Andrew Lewis, who once exited the ring and quit a fight rather than shit himself. So thought I'd wheel that one out. Right. Anyway, enough of that type of talk. What else have we got? Hey to Dave, any interest here? This Oscar De La Hoya Promotions show. Antonio Orozco, I recognise the name, can't remember who he's fought. He's fighting a fellow beaten, Keandre Gibson.
I'm not familiar with either of the fighters. Got to say, I'm a little worried about Oscar, though. He's back on it, isn't he?
Oh, he's back on it. Aye, definitely. But just to talk about that guy, Orozco, that's the guy that beat Miguel Acosta, Soto, and Abner Lopez. He's also beat Emmanuel Taylor, who went in distance with Broner, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
So decent fighter, undefeated.
Good prospect then, Andy. Might keep an eye out for him. 25-0.
Oh, he's 29 now, so I know he's 25-0, but I wouldn't call him a prospect now, mate. Not 29-year-old. I think he's got a fight coming up in. Is it Kendra Gibson? He's fighting or something.
Keandre Gibson, yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
What? Just sorry, going back to Oscar. How are people seeing he's back on it? Has he done something? Did he do something mental yesterday?
He's far too happy. He just looks buzzing his tits off all the time.
He was talking to Eddie Hearn afterwards after that Linares fight. He's obviously saying to him, listen, where's the best chin dealers and where's the best woman I can hang out the back of and all that sort of stuff. You know?
Oscar with Russ.
I should phone Russ.
Oscar,
that's my man.
Giving it the big one for Linares. Linares has fought in the United States 6 or 7 times, I think. And Oscar's coming over to Britain to support his boy Linares. I don't know.
Aye, he's over a jolly, man. He's over here to fucking poke chicks and fucking get high.
Quite right, too, man. After everybody that he's fought, he should be enjoying his money and that. Oscar, my man, go out and get fucked up. The 12 steps, he's for quarters.
He was giving it the spiel. Tommy, he was giving it the spiel, wasn't he? Halfway at the end of the fight, I think it was about round 10. They went to him in the crowd and he said, "Yeah, it's all up for grabs. They're both. It's an even."
He had that a bit level, didn't he?
Can I just say?
That's right. He's definitely back on it, isn't he?
I don't hate Oscar, but I liked Oscar the fighter. He fought everybody. That's without question. You know what he done in the ring is it's up there with some of the odd ATGs. But see him outside the ring as a promoter and how he talks and that. He is a cliched motherfucker, honest to God. Even the wife commented on him last night. He says, he's too fucking feminine. And listen to the way he speaks. He's like, he's trying to kind of search for words when he's trying to speak to you and that. He's got no charisma as such, trying to kind of put his point across.
See, when he talks, you know who remembers me? Michael Jackson. Remember, he was that way as well, man. Two of them never had childhoods or that. There's a bit of weirdness, fucking.
Aye.
Two, man.
I suppose his jab is quite brutal on him, apparently, eh?
He had to for about 5-year-old, he had to go to boxing training every day, man. He never got to go out and play with his pals or shit like that, man. Oscar had it hard when he was younger.
I'm like you, I prefer to remember Oscar the fighter. He never ducked anybody. I know he's had a bit of a rough time now, and I think his mom died when he was young and everything, but as a fighter, can't fault him, Andy. He fought everybody, win or lose.
Yeah,
my hero coming up, man, De La Hoya.
End of the day, I mean, that's what you don't give a fuck about zeros. You know, as long as you're in there fighting the absolute best that you can get. I mean, everybody, just look at his record and go watch his fights. Okay, he got lucky with a few decisions, but he also got a few decisions against him as well. You know, so.
Right, talking of all-time greats, next Tuesday, the 4th of April, Edna Cherry returns to the ring against Omar Douglas. That one's in Pennsylvania. Is that your type of territory? I didn't know.
Dave's Pennsylvania. Dave's Folly.
Yeah,
I'm not that close to Virginia now.
Right.
He's going to be in DC next weekend.
Right, okay. I take it, Dave, you're not going to be at this show then. Marco Huck against Maris Briedis. Interim WBC and IBO titles are on the line in Dortmund. Any interest in this one? Do you think it's going to be Briedis' coming out party, Hater?
Absolutely, that's what it's going to be. I've been high on him since he sparked Char. The guy can fight with power at heavyweight and cruiserweight. He's a tiny little guy with short arms. I mean, he has a tiny frame. He's a pretty stocky guy. So he's got some power. He's got strength. I think he's fun to watch. He gets inside and unloads combinations, and he has big one-shot power too. So I think he's going to stop Huck, and this is going to be his big coming out party. Hopefully, maybe the Germans will adopt him and change his name to like Heinrich or something, and start promoting him as the #1 guy.
Huck's a strange one, isn't he? He looked completely short. Then he's bounced back. He stopped Afalabi and he beat that Kutcher guy, man, didn't he? So there's maybe a wee bit left in the tank. The Briedis should win the fight though, but still, this could actually turn out to be a decent fight.
It's a crossroads fight for both of them, as you say, mate. But no, he went the distance with Kutcher. The thing is that I've watched with Huck and that, he's not got the inbuilt clock to let the hands go anymore. Briedis isn't a young guy. He's 32, but he's only 21.
Fresh,
exactly.
32.
That's the thing as well. I mean, if you look at that Duradola fight, who stopped the Russian hammer and that, I mean, that was a hard fucking going fight. But Duradola got his cunt kicked in that fight. So obviously, I agree with Dave. I think this will be his coming out party. I think this will be. I'm not wanting to say he's going to stop him actually, but see if this turns into a fight like a warrior attrition and that, I really do favour Briedis and stuff, because he had Duradola up against those ropes and he just chopped him down and got him stopped in the 9th round, had him doing a few times and stuff. I just think it could be one step too far for Huck. Huck was always must TV. You had to watch him because he just knew he was just ready to kick off at any minute and let the hands go. But I think obviously those 3 fights with Afalabi, maybe 4. He's had 4 fights now, I think. But Galatsky as well. Remember the 2 fights with Farah Arslan, and especially the first fight, that was a fucking brutal, hard-going fight. Vet kind of had kind of life and death with it as well. So
Steve Cunningham took an ass whoop in that first fight, didn't he?
Aye, that was kind of right just before he became a world champion. Aye, but I would think it's maybe a step too far from him. But I'm hoping this is going to be a really good fight. And as I say, I'm backing Briedis to kind of come out the other side of this one. Maybe stoppage.
I really hope Briedis wins it, because that sets up Usyk against Briedis perfectly, doesn't it? If it,
it wouldn't be a unification as such, because this is Steve says for the interim title, eh? So,
but it's still a fight.
You wonder about Bellew. You wonder if Bellew would come back down and fight him. What do you think?
I don't see him coming down to fight any of the two of these guys. These guys are killers. I don't see him coming down to fight any of these guys. Tony's going to fight again. It's going to be for a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah.
Another fight at heavyweight.
Like a freak show fight, Tommy, or something, yeah?
Well, I still have faith that the David Hay rematch will happen at some point. I think there's big money and still money. They two could make a lot of money with each other. Obviously, he would probably win the rematch, and then they'd go and hay the rubber, wouldn't they? So a lot of money it could be made there. So fingers crossed. I just wouldn't sit well with me that Tony Bellew retired with a win over David Hay, man. That rematch is going to happen. David's going to kick his ass, eh?
Smido, I know that you're very big on this Maris Briedis character. Let's look through a few of the statistics. He's not the tallest guy in the world, but he is 32, as the guys have mentioned. But he's very fresh, 21-0, 18 knockouts. He can clearly punch. He's got a few decent names on the record, as Dave mentioned, Adam. Manuel Char shows he can punch at heavyweight. Joey Vegas, his name's there. Ishmael Abdul, remember he fought David Hay many, many years ago, and he's still taking guys the distance now. Also Duradola, and then we last saw him, Briedis, fighting against this Simon Valili on one of the big fight undercards. Have you seen much of him, Smido? Is he a genuine threat to the big players, the Usyks and the likes of the cruiserweight division?
He also knocked out Danny Williams.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Smido. Yeah, he did.
I've not seen a lot with him, to be honest. I'm not gonna make out that I'm an expert. But what I will say is that if Briedis, I know he's in his 30s, but as you said, he's quite fresh, unexposed, really, if you like. If he needs a gut check, Marco Huck will give him that. He's going to be, Huck's. We know how tough he is. We know how good his chin has been. Whether it still is, whether it was broken by Glowacki, we don't know. But yeah, Huck, will provide a very, very stern test. We know how he acts at home. Obviously, on home soil, Huck's. That's where he plies his trade. So he will test Briedis, and I think it'll be a competitive fight. I do expect Briedis to come through. To be honest, he's on the way up, Huck's on the way down for me. But yeah, whether we see Huck one last swung song from him, and I wouldn't rule that out, to be honest.
It's nice to see, Smido, these Latvians coming over and having a good go, rather than the sort of ubiquitous survivors that we usually see in the corners of the weekend.
To be honest, he's the only Latvian guy that I know has actually managed to get himself to world level. I'm trying to think. I can't even think of any other Latvian fighters. I mean, obviously, you had that, what do you call it, a guy who used to come on the show a couple of times, Andrei Podzov, but he like a journeyman, basically, But
I'm trying to think. There was one at super middleweight a while ago, but I'm actually thinking he might be Lithuanian. That Mantas Tarvaidas. He fought Karoli Baljai for one of the WBO titles. I think he was Lithuanian, though. Don't upset any of our Lithuanian listeners out there.
Aye. I dare say if Ryan was on the call, he would have the right name. But there is one Lithuanian fighter out there now. Is it Edgar Mazikauskas or something like his name is, or something? He was quite heavily ranked in the amateurs and that. He's coming in. I think he's like 4-0 now as a pro, but he's getting pushed quite heavily. Eh?
Oh, was that Kalakauskis or something you call him?
Might be the one,
he's based in America, yeah?
Aye, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Where was Laszlo Papfrey, the great Hungarian amateur fighter? Was he Hungarian?
Yeah. Right, okay, we'll move on, guys. Unless there's anything else over the weekend coming, is there, that I might have missed?
Nah, it's a quiet week, mate. Obviously, getting to that, well, it's only March, I suppose, but I suppose we'll be getting ready to tune in for, like, when's AJ and that fighting? Was it May?
End of April.
Four weeks, is it?
End of April, so you have Burns coming up shortly, so April should be quite busy, eh?
Hopefully so. I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about next week, but we always find something, don't we, Andy?
Always, mate, always. We're just type of people, we know everything about boxing.
Yeah, hardcore helmets, that's us. Right, let's go on to the Bellew of the week, shall we?
Oh, please do.
Yes, there's quite a few come in now. Right, Smido, you sit where you are. You always usually disappear at this point, but I need you, Smido. Numbers are low. Don't you get running off anywhere. We've seen you having a piss.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's throw this one in first of all for the Bellew of the week. Matthew Skelton has sent this one in to us. Kelly and Nissi Sauerland. Kubrat Pulev versus Kevin Johnson on April the 28th in Sofia. And they're pulling this one like it's a big fight. I mean, Pulev against Kevin Johnson. It's pretty terrible, isn't it? And definitely Bellew of the week worthy. Chris Blackman sent this one in for Coogan Cassius. He was laughing at Billy Joe Saunders, apparently. Now, we're no experts on geography here. I know I've had a few issues with Tasmania, Tommy, in the past. But apparently, he was laughing at Coogan because Billy Joe Saunders said that Kazakhstan is in Asia. And Jamie Buckton jumped in and he said, half true, it's transcontinental. Your mate Jamie Buckton keeping us right there, Tommy. He blocked you today.
Yep.
It's fucking Asia. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It could be 10%, 7% or 6% European, but it's fucking Asia.
They're Asians. The Russians used to fucking they took over it at one point, didn't they? But it's back to Asia now, isn't it? They fight for it's like the Kazi fighters fight for the Pan-Asian titles and that, don't they?
Aye.
Shit like that. They didn't fight for European titles or that, really, do they?
No. Nomination for Coogan then for that one. Nomination for secondsout.com. I didn't even realise these were still going. Quite a big player back in the day. Paul Capener sent this one in. He said, Seconds Out on YouTube with a video titled Ryan Rhodes makes his return this Saturday, and then a video of Brian Rose. So they're getting Ryan Rhodes and Brian Rose mixed up there. Well done, secondsout.com. Now, this is one of my personal favourites. Marcus Bellinger sent it in. According to trainer Joe Gallagher on 5 Live Sport on the BBC, everything was against Anthony Crolla the last time against Linares. Even the commentary was biased, said Joe, who said that Linares shoe-shined the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, well, he shoe-shined him with a fucking uppercut that took him off his feet last night.
Oh, yes.
That was set.
Joe Gallagher. Animal abuser.
You know what the best thing about last night was, right? I went and watched it with 3 of my mates from work who, could be regarded as casuals, semi-casuals. And as soon as I sat down, the first lad said, I fucking hate that Joe Gallagher. And I was like, the lads on the podcast will love you. And then one lad who does listen to the podcast and he thinks that we're haters. I said, check this out, because at that time Kurt put in the chat, I'm watching the Showtime feed. So I said they're that hardcore that they're not even watching it on Sky. They're watching the American feed of a British fight in Manchester.
See the comments you get on Twitter whenever Joe appears on the telly. It's hilarious. Animal molester, Doug Shagger, Joe Gallagher, Shag Stocks.
He must know.
It's fucking hilarious.
Joe Gallagher's a cunt.
Dog nonce.
It turns up everywhere now. It turns up everywhere now, though, doesn't it? I watch him on T Street Controversy, and he was on one of the videos the one time, and all of a sudden he was talking about Joe Gallagher, and he goes, "Oh, not this shit again. Joe Gallagher, what the fuck is this dog shit all about?" And someone was putting it in the chat next to his video.
Oh, it's quality, man. That's great arms and legs.
4 legs, Tommy.
4 legs, mate, and a tail, aye. Did any see the tweet last night where I'm sitting in his dressing room, the picture of him saying that he's had a hard time lately, he's went missing, you can usually find him with a dog. That's hilarious.
Poor Joe. Okay, regular contributor to this pod, Kurt Ward, has sent one in for Dominic Ingle, talking on Boxing News TV, which is our friend Ben's channel, talking about Triple G. Kel knocked the stuffing out of Triple G. He wasn't the same fighter. Craig Mastro has sent this one in. Spot the Bellew of the Week from the Boxing Voice, our compatriots in the world of podcasting. They said, the truth, Errol Spence Jr. touches down in the UK. Stay locked on to our social media channels, and also at Sky Cricket News on Twitter. Did I tell you?
Yeah, a shower of casuals at the Boxing Voice podcast. Like,
that's what I said. You got Ness and Jeffrey Boycott giving the boxing truth.
Fuck me.
Right, we had a message from our friend. Let me find out his name. This was quite a good one, actually, from Gary Michael Fortune. He said, great podcast, lads. I've been a fan from almost day one. You got me through a few good, long and boring Sangard duties in Afghanistan. My 2 pence worth for Haymaker of the Week. He's calling it Haymaker of the Week. We'll let him off. Dominic Ingle at the Spence press conference was on fine form. He said, referencing Triple G, oh yeah, this was the same one actually, something missing in the fight. Kel had knocked the stuffing out of Triple G. He wasn't the same fighter. We just had that one as well. And also he said about Triple G versus Brook, again, apart from the eye socket injury, Triple G didn't really make a dent in Kel.
Apart from that. Apart from the first punch he landed.
Gone in the first round, aye.
He caught my left hook in the first round, the legs dipped, remember?
But yeah, as Gary Michael says, to me, an eye socket injury is a significant dent, many more that I can't be arsed writing up. He says, keep up the good work. I'm glad the burping and farting is slowly but surely fizzling out. Oh, there you go. Something's fizzling out there, Gary. Sorry about that, but thank you very much, and nice to know that you're a long-term listener. Right, let me see. Dale Connors has been nominated by, I'm not sure who by, but anyway, thank you. Matthew Sibley, I think it was. Dale Connors said Canelo will beat Triple G in an easy decision. Triple G just comes forward. He has no real boxing skills.
Yeah, he pick up Olympic medals by no fucking medal at a box.
Shocking.
Willie and Oz sent that one in as well, so thanks to Willie and Oz. He always sends a fair few in. Ben, as I was mentioning earlier, our friend from Boxing News TV, Virgil Hunter, Amir Tommy can still become not only a world champion for the 3rd time, but the greatest welterweight of all time.
Well,
Don't even start.
I'm sitting the fence with that one. Fuck you know.
Don't even start.
Amir can win fights, but he's not going to be the best welterweight all time. I wouldn't imagine so anyway. Would he be the best British welterweight all time? Probably no, would he?
Nope. Willie Limond.
Aye.
Right, Alan Melville has sent this next one in for Sky. Sky Bet, apparently, the betting arm of Sky Sports. And they said Linares versus Crolla. 6-1 for Golovkin by knockout, TKO or disqualification. Not quite sure where Golovkin's come in there for the Linares versus Crolla. They must have Golovkin on the brain. Andy, you sent this one in. I think Asif took issue with you. Apparently, who was it about Crolla, was it, when they said in Boxing News, Gary Sykes hold 2 wins over him, though the second time was in a prize fighter tournament, and you were arguing that, it doesn't matter whether it's in the prize fight, it was still a loss.
Exactly, mate. I mean, it was the way that this article was written. I thought it just says, oh well, it was a prize fight. It was only 3 rounds. Doesn't fucking matter. An L was an L. Simple as.
An L, yep. An L is an L, says Andy. Holly Lewis has sent this one in. Kel Brook and his team said that Golovkin wasn't the same after facing Brook, and that's why he couldn't KO Jacobs. Quite a few of those ones floating about. Now, this is a good one from I Am the Barman. Now, this guy, this Anthony Agogo, why the hell this part-time boxer, celebrity casual, keeps on getting asked onto shows all the time to talk on behalf of boxing and boxers, I do not know. Apparently, he was on Talk Sport, and he said, I've got the style to beat Golovkin. He couldn't even beat, what was it, Jason Cunningham?
Aye. He's away with the fairies, that cunt, isn't he?
Who said that again?
He wouldn't even beat Spike. Spike would chin him, man.
A go-go, Andy.
A go-go? Fuck it. Mr. Glass, aye. Fuck, he's like that character that Samuel L. Jackson plays in that film with Bruce Willis. The guy in the train crash and that. Mr. Glass. Unbreakable. That's what he fucking reminds me of.
And he needs to change his name to Ant, and he needs to fucking go.
He doesn't even fight, though, does he? That's the thing. He's not even a full-time boxer.
Aye, and his Olympic medal was gifted to him actually as well.
I remember seeing him when he first turned pro, and he was so freaking boring. I just switched off then.
He turned pro with Golden Boy, didn't he?
Didn't he sign with Oscar? Yeah, he was signed with Oscar.
They fucked him off, didn't he? He was injured all the time. He had
always
bad hands.
Yeah.
Oscar wanted to change his name to Wake Us Up After a Go-Go.
Oh dear. Right.
That's some brutal comedy.
Let's get back to Willie and Oz. He sends in another one. Chris Eubank Jr. has been having quite a spat with Tony Bellew. We've had a few sent in this week from this ongoing Twitter battle. Chris Eubank Jr. said, everyone knows without that injury you would have got banged against Hay. Rematch or come down to super middle, and I'll show you what boxing is about Tony Bellew. That's what I said, Andy. Tony cuts 35 pounds nice and easy.
See the fact that he even said that. I mean, I would even say that as a troll, or even as a bit of crack. Bring him down to 168. Fucking Tony looked like a fucking a Jew in a fucking concentration camp trying to make 175. What's he gonna be like trying to make 168?
It looked like something an Oxfam advert, wouldn't it? Fuck me, man.
Hell, exactly. Aye.
So,
please give generously.
Dave, sorry about that. Andy, apologise to Dave about that comment.
Sorry, Dave. I know you're Jewish, Dave. Sorry about that, mate.
Thank you. I think that is poor form by Eubank to continue to call out every fighter he can possibly think of who's in the headlines and not fight a single one. No, he'll fight some shot guy or some journeyman who no one's ever heard of.
Somebody was saying that apparently he wanted his first IBO title defence against John Ryder. Him and his dad were saying, and ITV were getting a bit pissed off about this to their credit, saying, no, you need to fight somebody, better than that. And they were holding out for Ryder. And it's noticeable, I suppose, Adam, that we haven't heard Eubank being signed up to fight anybody at the moment.
No, I mean, Bellew has called him out correctly, really. He's just saying he's putting his name to Bellew because he's high at the minute. He's put his name to Triple G, and then he's walking into clubs and schools holding a belt. And some people, well, a fair amount of people think he's a real world champion. I mean, he's going to continue to do what he does, but regardless of what we say. And when he fights someone good, I hope he gets found out, as he already has, because they've done a pretty good job of forcing people, including myself, to momentarily forget that Billy Joe Saunders beat. He has lost.
Yep. I think Bully and Eubank have both come on since that fight, though, haven't they? I think they're both better fighters now. I actually rate Eubank. I think he's a good fighter.
Is Billy a better fighter, Tommy?
Well, not in his last performance.
Not in his last performance. He's no, mate. That's true enough, but you've got to see he has improved for that fight. He was showing with Andy Lee and that. He looked good in that fight as well, didn't he?
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Yep. Nomination for Gaz at Madiba722. Somebody put up a video of Vitaly Klitschko giving Corey Sanders a bit of a beating, and Gaz said, "Iron chin," like in a joking way. Same fight, he got knocked out, and as Kurt Ward jumped in and said, "Vitaly is not Vladimir." I think he's getting him there.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Blah HFH has sent this one in. I didn't see this one actually. There was a new ESPN pound for pound list that came out. New judge Joe Cortez was ranking Cindy Crawford number 6 on his pound for pound list. I don't know.
That was age, mate. I've actually got it here. The guy, who's this guy now? Give me a second. He goes under the name. His surname's Palata. I don't know who he's fucking is, right? But he's got fucking Oscar Valdez in at number 9. Oscar Valdez. And Atlas hasn't even got Golovkin ranked. Meanwhile, he's got Spence and Garcia in the top 10. And even he's got Keith Thurman number 3.
Bloody hell. Teddy's on the troll, I think. Right.
Teddy just
Stephen McGuinness.
He's just backing up the fucking PBC fighters. That's all he's done.
Yeah. I pretty much, he's on the payroll, isn't he, Teddy? Stephen McGuinness said nomination for Eubank Jr. calling Tony down to super middleweight. There's Smido gone. He managed to sneak away while I wasn't watching. Michael Gearty, Eubank Jr. again. Me and you at a catch weight. Then my pen's ready. Dippo Osho, a regular hater of all things Tony and Chris Eubank Jr. Apparently, Eubank Jr. said everyone knows without the injury. Oh, we went through that, didn't we? And then Tony Bellew responded to Jr. Ha 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 multiple times. Lad, the last time I was under 12 stone, you was in your dad's sack. You may as well still be in there. That was quite a good one. Graham Marshall sent this one on a Friday night. I agreed with this actually. Just as Conrad Cummings was about to knock his overmatched opponent into the ropes, they decided to go to an ad break a couple of seconds before the end of the round. So Graham said, yep, Spike TV cuts out to a break just as the most interesting part comes along. Rory McGonigal always finds a good one for us. Joe Gallagher called Frank Buglioni a household name in the press conference for the Crolla fight.
Oh dear.
In the Buglioni household, maybe, Andy.
Just because he knocked out Jose Burtmus, another one of Gallagher's fighters, eh? Yeah. That was a glorious night to see animal abuser just fucking vomit in his fucking mouth and swallow it again, you know.
Oh, the best part about that, right, was where Burton caused, you know, he knocked Buglioni backwards a little bit, and three of the 4 Smith brothers stood up on the feet as if to say, "Go on, get on him!" And then he went and tried to get on him, and boom, there you go, Buglioni, right, and over the top. See you later.
That was a good fight. I hope there's a rematch. I really enjoyed that fight. I hope they get the rematch.
Well, that rematch should happen in Buglioni working with Eddie now. That should be happening.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
One name they mentioned last night was Sky was Lee Markham, actually. I'd like to see him fucking fight Buglioni again.
Yeah.
Didn't he get knocked out by... No, it wasn't him who Callum Smith knocked out. That was Blackledge, wasn't it?
It was Blackledge. Markham and Buglioni fought to a draw. Eh? It was a fucking... For an area title fight, it was really good.
Yeah,
I really like Buglioni. I've grown to like him. Smido, he's a real warrior, isn't he?
I don't know. I think I have grown to like him. I mean, he's chopped and changed his trainers, to be fair, but he's entertaining to watch. And he's not. I think now he's lost his unbeaten record. He's not scared of getting in with practically anyone at a domestic level. So yeah, fair play to him.
Right, talking of pound for pound lists, Ellie Sekbak, former friend of mine, has put one in for him. He's got, from 1 to 10, Lomachenko, Mikey Garcia, Deontay Wilder, Canelo, Andre Ward coming in at 5, Kovalev, Triple G, Spence Jr., Thurman, Broner, and Jacobs. I make that 11, so well done, Ellie, on all levels.
Fucking
Ben,
an absolute fucking zoomer.
That comes. He must have took a lot of acid at one point in his life, man. He's fucked up.
Ellie Sekbak reporting.
That actually sounds like.
Well done, Dave. He nailed that one. Well done, Dave. That was Ben Smith who sent that one in, by the way. Nomination for Sky Sports Boxing. They said Linares versus Crolla is live. Couldn't even get his surname right. Paul Edwards sent this one in for Adam Smith. I don't know if it's you, Smido, or the commentator, for saying that Katie Taylor has a softly spoken feminine voice. Does he expect her to sound like John Fury?
No,
that would have been Smido. That would have been creepy.
No, that wasn't me, boys.
That would be creepy fucking...
That was creepy Adam last night, yeah.
Creepy Smido. Smido's creepy uncle.
Frotch said the same thing, didn't they?
Oh, what about fucking Frotch's suit last night, by the way? And who was it standing next to him?
Oh, Johnny Nelson.
Johnny Nelson.
Suit class.
Fucking
Yeah.
the wife thought they were wearing pajamas at one point.
They must have worn them for bets last night.
Oh
Fuck
my
me,
fucking
man.
god!
Comic relief. Fucking hell.
Yeah, Carl Froch got a nomination, actually. Funny you should mention it. From the Dark Lazarus, he said that Froch had Rose a round up with one to go, but said it was Arnfield's to win. Fair play to Froch. He's toned down the even rounds, actually, Tommy.
He still found an even round last night somewhere.
Yeah.
He gave two even rounds in the what fight was it? The fucking Max Hughes fight, was it not?
Oh, was it, right?
They see that cartoon it was on back in the day. It was Tintin. They should remake that with Carl Froch and call it 10-10, eh? Fucking me, man. Fucking
Oh, there you go. There's one for you, Gary. Right, Cam Renson has sent this one in. Bellew of the Week for, I'm assuming, Sky or Adam Smith again for comparing the Katie Taylor atmosphere to Hatton versus Sue.
No.
Oh, dear.
Oh, that's...
Oh, here's one. Here's one for you, Tommy. Jamie Buckton. A lot.
Right.
What's he talking about? I'm not sure what fight he's talking about, but he said it's going to be a lot closer. He's talking about Linares Crolla. This was before Linares Crolla, Tommy. Jamie Buckton said it's going to be a lot closer this time around. Believe me, it'll be a lot closer than Triple G versus Jacobs.
Oh man, that guy's just a complete casual, man. Fuck me.
Who's that? Jimmy Buckton.
No.
He listens every week.
Jamie Blockton.
He's a big fan. Shout out to you, Jamie boy. Shout out to you.
By the way, can I just say,
Love you,
Jamie, go and buy a new pair of jeans, mate. You don't meant to have your fucking knee coming out your trousers, you know.
Right. Michael Conlan has got nominated from the champ himself, Chad Hogan, Brian King. Conlan said, just caught up on Katie Taylor's great performance. It's early days, but you could say she's the pound for pound best female boxer about already. Brian put that in for Bellew of the Week.
Aye. Well, the wife was asking about that.
Yeah.
Right, Ben Thorne's nominated himself. My scorecard was exactly the same as Carl Froch's, he says. I feel like I'm a Bellew of the Week. No shame in that, Ben.
Froch again. Scoring drawn rounds far too often again last night.
Welcome to the present, Adam.
No, thank you.
Right. Official team Smith brothers were trying to get behind their man Anthony Crolla, but they could have done with a bit of spell checking beforehand. Let's get behind Anthony Crolla tonight on Sky Sports, they said. Hashtag Team Collar. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to catch on.
That was probably Big Mongo that wrote that. I mean, Mindo.
Oh, dear.
Right, I'll be getting to the end here, I'm sure. Adipo Osho is nominated. Even more Bellew of the Weeks, Dominic Ingle. This right said Fred looking prick was put in a loadout, apparently. Matt has nominated Vladimir Klitschko for ruining a good video that he made, a homemade video, by swearing and saying piss. Stephen Leaper, this was quite a good one. Good morning, Brian Rose, he said this morning. That was a great fight. 12 rounds of pure class. You deserve to have won. Hashtag Team Rose. Enjoy your day.
That's going to be some crack.
I'll tell you what.
Blackpool.
We had Tony Bellew in commentary last night. Has anybody nominated Tony?
No.
What would they say again?
I've got one right here. Tony Bellew last night on commentary, talking about sparring, saying that nobody should ever put any weight into what happens in sparring. This is a guy who's just spent a whole promotion talking about what happened in a fucking sparring session with David Hay. So I'd like to nominate Tony for Bellew of the Week.
I got another one for him too.
Come on.
During it was the Marcus, what's his name fight? Marcus
Morrison.
Yeah, Marcus Morrison. He says of the other guy, he just needs to throw the bunches and punches now.
The bunches in punches.
Also, Oscar for just general lunacy ringside, and he also every time he said Crolla's name, it sounded like he was saying Corolla. Like
Corolla,
I always think he's going to say Crolla foam. Remember the old juice used to kind of spark up on that, eh?
That's a new one from the past, Andy.
Crolla foam.
And there was also Tony for saying after the fight, Linares was just that little bit better. And the EMC for saying, one of the leading referees in the world today, Howard Foster.
John McDonald was on terrible form, wasn't he? He was just proper. I know that's his job to get everyone pumped up, but he was just talking shit.
It's shite.
AIDS.
Gets
It shows you how much Hearn thinks he's Crolla and that he couldn't get Michael Buffer there for that. Fuck me.
Mm. Any nominations? Anybody else?
Yes, I've got a couple.
Go on, Andrew.
Right. Okay. Now, one's for Michael Woods. You know the writer. You know this Amir, the loaded Amir Khan account is going about the now. And it's basically got a caption that says Triple G. It's possible he's already landed 58, and I have beat. But that's possible. Anyway, he just basically says, Michael Woods asks, who speaks this language and can attest to the accuracy of the translation? So he thought that Khan was going to be fighting Golovkin at some point.
Fair enough, Andy. I actually deleted that one. Sorry, I couldn't remember whether I'd read that one out last week. So thanks for bringing that one up. I had got rid of it.
Dan Raphael for basically saying that Danny Jacobs is fighting Billy Joe Saunders in Kazakhstan. he's had a tragic 7 days. Sky Sports basically put out the tail of the tape picture, and it had for Crolla against Linares, and it had Linares has had 44 fights, 31 wins, 15 by knockout, 3 draws and 5 defeats. Meanwhile, Crolla's got 39 fights, 41 wins, 27 by KO, 0 draws and 3 losses.
Very good, hell.
And you got that one for Brian, and the last one. Obviously, I mean we can't end Belly the week without saying this. Obviously, I'll just say the name: Spencer X.
Yeah.
Quite a week for Spencer.
Oh my word! He's supposed to be listening in the day. I don't know if he's listening or no, but Spencer, mate. Oh,
you're a grass.
You're a grass. But just put it this way: thank you. Too many gassed up people. They still don't learn. He got beat on Saturday, but the system is a system. That's basically Spencer saying that. Jacobs beat Golovkin. Okay. Now, Fearon in an interview with Michelle Phelps says Ward landed a higher percentage of punches, so I think he deserved to win the fight. So there we go. CompuBox casual. Now, if you want to use the casuals and use the CompuBox, Golovkin outlanded fucking Jacobs if you want to go with the CompuBox numbers. So he still deserved to win the fight. Spencer, you fucking idiot.
Andy, your fatal mistake. Never try and apply logic to anything Spencer says. That's the first mistake.
He's a racist.
He seems like a top bloke to me. I hope he comes on the show.
He's more than welcome.
He DM'd Tommy last week saying, let's build up some hype. I'll come on your show.
Yeah, if he wants to come on, come on.
He's a fucking roaster, man. He'd get lost on the asylum, wouldn't he?
Right, Steve, I've got one.
Go on.
This was sent in by my true friend, Galaxy Shep. Scott Quigg. Quigg. Doing a preview of the Crolla fight, and he's managed to predict 3 outcomes in one paragraph, I think.
Who's this, Shep or Quigg?
Quigg.
Right. You need to put Shep up for it because there's a bit of irony involved there, you know.
So Quigg said, if he can, then Anthony has got a real tough night. But if Linares is not as good as he was on the last night, I believe Anthony will overcome him and regain the belt. If it goes to points, you would have to side with Linares on a tight points decision. But if Anthony can get him and really start putting doubts in his head early, he can nick a really close points decision, or even take a late stoppage. That's in one sentence.
By the way, but the thing is, I don't know if Shep has been serious when he sent that tweet out, because after his fucking betting habits and stuff like that, he's not really in a position to be slagging people off.
Oh, did any see Shep's tweet last night when he was slagging the commentary and his Paul was something along with Paul Smith saying a nightmare, and at the time it was Bellew who was commentating it.
Paul Smith wasn't even there. Paul Smith was in Germany last night.
He was
fucking Abraham.
He was tucking in some Hamburg sausage.
I quite like Shep. I feel a bit sorry for him. He's all right. Anyway, moving on. That was a good one, Smido. Thanks for throwing that one in. That's a late possible. I don't know whether to go for that one or not, to be honest. Right. Smido, we'll go for you first. Who's it going to be?
Oh, I didn't want you to go to me first because I forgot most of them. I'm going to go Eubank. Eubank Jr., please.
Okay. Hater, what about you?
I'm going to go for Tony Bellew. He's had about 5 different nominations this week, so I think he just earned it through sheer bulk. That's not to be against Tony. I'm actually becoming a fan. I've been becoming a fan since he moved up to cruiserweight, actually, and after he's knocked that bitch Hay out. I mean, I gotta love him for life.
Okay, Andy, what about you?
I'm torn, mate. I really want to give it to Spencer X just for that complete and utter meltdown he had and stuff like that. I mean, I'll just read it one of the. I mean, he's blocked us all and stuff like that now. So hence the reason why I've got the X movement going on Twitter just now. But
he's got you blocked, Steve. He's got you blocked, Steve, hasn't he?
Yeah, he blocked me ages ago for something about how Hara Davis related. You know?
I love Tommy's tweet. I love Tommy's tweet when he says to him, I'm the master of disaster on this fucking bit. It was like, he picked it like one word. He made it racist, like the master. So he kind of like picked up that word and tried to make it racist and all that sort of shit. The guy's he's maybe an alright guy. I don't know, but
he must have searched man on Google to find that link, man. He must have even wrote Thomas in. What a fucking
you know what it is, mate? What it is? It'll be some fucking one of his bum sniffs will be sending them links and stuff like that.
Maybe some casual he sent him one of the Sky casuals.
Because what I do notice is some of the people who follow me that didn't follow back and that were all his fucking comments and that basically picking backing him up on that. I'm like, casual, blocked.
Who is it then, Andy? You going for Spence?
Yeah, I've got to go to Spencer, mate. I mean, that was just a complete. I think we'll have to. Some people you've got to kind of gradually chip away at. It takes time and effort to really break someone to get you blocked. Spencer basically capitulated like in a matter of hours. You know, the guy he's too thin-skinned. See that? I said thin-skinned. I didn't say coloured skin, by the way. I said thin-skinned.
Tommy, it's open season. You've got loads of different.
I'm going feet. It was a toss-up. Well, it wasn't really a toss-up. I can't really get to Tony after Spencer's meltdown. Spencer for multiple offences. Yeah,
there was a few that my vote's going to be irrelevant now anyway. All the ones I was going for, nobody's gone for. I quite like the boxing voice cricket one. I like the Anthony Ogogo one. And I like Joe Gallagher on Channel 5, on BBC Radio 5 Live talking about Linares shoe shine in the last few rounds. But I was actually going to go for Quig for the one that Shep sent in. So I'll go for Quig. It's irrelevant anyway. Is anybody jumping in there? No? No? Okay, fair enough. Right, Spencer, congratulations. I'm sure you'll be listening.
Yes.
On the download, maybe on iTunes. Maybe you've left 5 stars, Spencer. Nothing less than 5 stars is acceptable.
Maybe he's left away.
Fearon must be getting close to holding the most Bellew of the Week trophies. Surely, yeah.
He's had a fair few. Yeah, he's had a fair few now, hasn't he, Tom?
He's up there with Tony himself, eh?
I mean, see, to be honest, does anybody else think that he's not a racist?
He's a racist. Black's everything to him, man. Eh? Fuck me.
Well, the modern perception of, I guess, the social justice crusaders is that only white people can be racist.
Exactly, that's true, and it's a lot of shite. So
yeah, that does not meet the definition at all.
I'm not going to get into anything political. I seen someone Twitter last week, and I got a bit of stick for it. I see that Scottish people and Irish people as well, they've been through more shit than anybody over the years. I'm not saying African Americans have been through anything, and that's obviously tongue in cheek, but you didn't hear us fucking bitching like something like Fearon does all the time, man. Everybody's against us.
The SNP bitch all the time.
Yeah, fuck them, man. But
Steve, let's move on quick.
Yeah, I'm moving on. I think that's it, guys. Nothing else to add. Yeah, nothing else to add anyway, boxing related or anything other related. But anybody want to speak about anything boxing before we get the hell out of here? In that case, we shall finish up. Yep, that's fine. That was the voice of the guru you heard there. Tommy Guru Allen. Thanks, Tommy, for jumping on as always. Andy Patterson. Hey to Dave Lowback. Adam Smido Smith. We also had Russ on the call. He didn't say anything. And Joe O'Neill from IrishBoxing.com. Russ is like the guy who comes on every week but barely says anything, but he's always on the call. No Amir Khan either for you this week either. Any Seb? Has anybody heard from Seb? Actually, he's disappeared.
Seb's deleted his Twitter and totally erased himself, wasn't
I
he?
thought he might have been on after Golovkin's performance last week, but nah, he never came around. So.
I guarantee if Golovkin had a lost, he'd have been back. Like,
Oh, yeah.
No, he'll
Right,
be
that-
back when Kovalev and Ward rematch.
Oh yes, the
Yeah.
spear jab part 2.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Right, guys, that'll do. We'll catch you all next week. Thanks for listening. Cheerio.